Good afternoon, my fellow Tottenham fans, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur for your last pre-match build-up of the season. And of course, it is the penultimate game of the season as Tottenham travel up to Sheffield to take on Sheffield United. And all we need is a point to secure Europa League football. Also, the under-21 game is going on right now. Their semi-final of the Premier League as well is on right now against Chelsea. Is currently 0-0. Couple of interesting things there. Devine and Phillips are both brought back in for the under-21s for this game. No Donnelly, no Kieran Menton on the team sheet. I know Donnelly came off in the cup final injured. I just wonder, is any of them, him or Kieran Menton, are they both injured, or is any of them traveling with the first team? So let's wait and find out there. But as you can see, we are joined by the one and only Jack, Dermotron, Jose, and Donovan as well. Jacko, how are you this morning, my man?
Doing all right, Dave. Went on my last Spurs-related run of the season. You know, had a little Spurs kit on with the sweatshirt above. Had a good workout from it. Actually had a weird sort of moment where I was, sweating a lot, but then I realized that it was Pierre's last game, potentially Emerson Royale's last game. So I had actually a little mini cry, while also sweating profusely at the same time, which really wasn't, what my body really did need, but it was a little weird at the time just to, go through less of a motivational run, more of an emotional run instead, this time. But Dave, last pre-match build-up of the season, last watch along of the season, kind of looking forward to the end of the season, but I am kind of, I am going to miss the roller coasters that we experience with all of you guys. I like all the delusional build-ups that we have. I like all the questions that you provide us. I like all the, the moments that we have before the game and during the game. And, we're not going to have those for a few months. So, yeah, last one. Let's hope it actually ends in a positive note.
Yeah, I really do hope so. We could do with some positivity around here after the couple of weeks that we've had. The under-21s now losing games. The women lost the FA Cup final. Tottenham haven't been winning games. Could do with a nice pick-me-up heading into the summer for sure. Dermotron, how are you keeping, sir?
Yeah, keeping fine. Look, always hate the end of the season because I know next Saturday there's no Tottenham. And I really hate it. Always have done, always will do. So, look, road round July as quickly as possible. But yeah, we should get a win today. And let's batter them and let's go out in a bit of style.
I really do hope so. That'd be absolutely nice. Jose, how are you keeping, my man?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. I'm glad to be on here with you fine gentlemen today. And hopefully we get a lot of people in the chat making comments and giving us their thoughts. I'm looking forward to today. I don't care what's happened all throughout the season. I always look forward to us playing. And a bit like Dermot, I'm just thinking to myself, what we're going to do? Because to me, the Euro Championships don't bother me and the friendlies don't bother me. It's just, yeah, we're going to kick off starts again in August later on in August. That's when I'll be up and running again. So, yeah, looking forward to it, mate.
It's a weird one because I sort of always look forward to the end of the season for a little bit of a break. But then after about 3-4 days, reality kicks in that I have to wait the whole summer for Tottenham Hotspur to come back again. But last but not least, Donovan, how are you, sir?
Hey, big up everyone. Big up Dave, Jack, Dermo. Nice being you, Jose. Yeah, I know it's a bit of melancholy. End of the season. Nobody wants to, take a break from Spurs. But between the gym and fellas don't have ice hockey over there, but my ice hockey team, we're heading into playoffs right now. So, I'm getting my winning satisfaction from that. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, we got a big rivalry against our Canadian team here, and as for Spurs, let's end the season on a high. Build some positivity because, like you alluded to, Dave, it's not exactly the most consistent form of positivity in your life right now. So,
yeah,
Last chance at the trophy for you,
exactly.
Donovan.
So,
yeah. It's we had a good game last game. Big comeback. So I'm hoping that can kind of rub off on the Spurs here because, like Dave said, we're in a bit of a dark cloud. Even our youth teams are starting to get affected by it, and one thing at a time.
Look, we'll wait and see how today unfolds. We should get victory. I mean, if we don't, I would be livid, but we should get victory today. But look, let's welcome a few people in the chat, and then let's crack on with everything everyone needs to know. Terry Bett says, good morning, everyone. Spurs to win 3-1 to finish fifth. Which will make the season a positive one. Enjoy the transfer window ahead. I absolutely hate the transfer window, to be brutally honest. Big up Spurs GCTV. Hi, guys. Let's get the job done today and get building for next season. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you in the house. You also have Brett Lockhead says, hi, guys. Let's hope for a win. Oliver isn't the ref, is he? No, it's not. I'll bring up the ref in a minute. If I remember correctly, Andrew Madley. Rowan Kumar, good to see you. Good morning, guys. Let's end the season on a high. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Danny Ellis says, any thoughts on everything getting missed out of Premier League vid? What a bunch of petty-minded peas. Not really. I couldn't care what's going on at the likes of Everton and stuff like that, to be brutally honest. Shem Tan says, Dave, good afternoon, Jack, Dave, and everyone in the chat. Last game of the season. Hope everyone is okay. Going to be a long, lonely summer. Come on, you Spurs, 4-1. Let's end in style. Never going to be a lonely summer, Shantan. Me and Jack aren't going anywhere. It doesn't stop. We've got plenty of end of season content. We've got plenty of stuff coming up over the summer and stuff like that. So you will not be lonely. Don't worry about that one, my man. But good to see you in the building. DJ Samuel Coyce, good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. We also have Vendal Ross says, thanks for all the awesome entertainment this year. Really appreciate it. Big yourself up. We also have Keith Edwards. I'm fully on board with Ange. Roll on summer transfers. We have lots of talking points like that today, my man. Beyond 72 says Spurs haven't hurt you enough if you're not a little worried about today's game. The sad thing is, I think there's plenty worried heading into today's game, to be brutally honest with you. But yeah, I take the point. I take the point. Steve Webb says Andrew Madley is the ref today. Good to see you, Stevie. And MV Joker Davis, give us a good finish, boys. Nope. Listening in from work. Hopefully the show is interesting. It always is. Come on, you Spurs. Really appreciate that. We also have Daryl Bradford says, big up, gentlemen. Good morning. Good to see you, sir. Thomas as well. Great to see you. We also have Del Boy, Derek Hutchinson. Big up, Dave, Jack, Dermot. Jose and Donovan, if this lot lose today, they need to be horsewhipped. Come on, you Spurs. I think it was Marlon in the channel creator predictions had a sort of brilliant reverse psychology. I mean, I was in awe of it. It was absolutely brilliant. It's up to them. It's up to the team and the manager now to go and show some, winning mentality and stuff like that. So let's wait and see if it happens. We also have Faz Radfar, 3-1 Spurs. Big up my favorite channel. Hope you're all well. 3-1 to win to finish the season. Big up, Faz. It's got to come in at some stage, right, Faz? It's got to come in at some stage, my man. Big up, Stevie Webb. Good to see you as always, sir. We also have Rooty 2. Two Spurs under 21 teams have knocked each other out for the same header. Yeah, they both challenged for the same header. It looked like a nasty bit of a collision there, to be brutally honest with you. Trinidad says, let's just hope City don't balls it up after our recent input to affect the race, whether we meant it or not. 4-1 to the Spurs today. Cheers, lads. Your boss. Come on, you Spurs. I really do hope they don't, to be brutally honest, because that's going to be, something I can sit there, chuckle, laugh at, giggle at, and sort of enjoy social media tonight if that is the case. So that'll be absolutely brilliant, Trinidad. Come on, City. Hopefully they can do the business today. Jack Bloom, good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well. Who else have we got here? We've got Abrir says, hey, Dave, good to see you. William Webb, if West Ham United win today, that would be so funny for some and others not so. Look, I don't think it would be funny at all. I think, the repercussions of them winning the league, I think people only realise once it actually happens and the abuse that we get. Liam says, Donnelly and Moore in the first team. All right, look, I know Donnelly is a bit injured, so we'll wait and see what the story is there. Hopefully that would be nice. Kieran Menton not there as well today. I wonder, did he travel? KPV, big up everyone. Hope you're all well. Come on, you Spurs, and going 4-0. Sonaldo to score 4. That'll be a good way for him to sign off and answer the people that maybe think he's over the hill. Dragging these nuts, big up all. Hoping for a big 5-0 win to cap off the season. Good to see you. We also got Andy Nguyen says, come on, you Spurs, we must beat Sheffield United today. Paddy Harnett says, afternoon, gents. Same team that started versus City. Up the Spurs. Big up, Paddy. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. We'll take 3 more and then I'm out. Daniel Harris says, big up, Team Harris checking in. 3 things are guaranteed: debt, taxes, Spurs conceding. But I think 3-1 to the Spurs today. Big up, Daniel Harris. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Let's bloody go. We've also got DJ AK. Big up, lads. Got a massive hangover. Let's get the win to ease the pain. Come on, you Spurs. Of course, it was DJ's birthday yesterday, everybody. So please make sure you wish him a belated happy birthday in the chat. I presume celebrated in style on the decks as well, my man. Big up. And then we've got Al from Rectus, or Rectus Madness, a.k.a. Al from Team Tottenham Go. Good morning, Dave, Jack, Jose, Dermatron, and Donovan. Sending love from Boston. Hoping for a big win today to end the season on a high. I really do hope so, my man. And also big up Canva. And we also have DYT2 as well. I had a bad feeling about Man City will draw and Arsenal will win. Look, let's wait and see what happens with that. I'm not going to get too much brought into that today and stuff like that. Let's wait and see what happens in that regard. Just quickly, I'll give everybody everything they need to know, and then we'll crack on with a lot of the talking points that we've got for today. So, of course, the game is at Bramall Lane. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. Referees, Andy Madley in the VAR room. It is Tim Robinson. On TV, it's not actually being shown in the UK or Ireland, not even on Premier Sports today. In the USA, it's on Peacock TV. In Australia, it's on Optus Sports. And in Canada, it is on Fubo TV. And then we get on to some of the injuries. Of course, Dozie, Fraser, Forrester, Sess Young, Burner, Solomon, Lo Celso, Richarlison, Davies, Basuma. Well, Lo Celso's a doubt, so we'll wait and see what happens. We'll have to speak to Jose about that in a little while. And then also we have Sheffield United, Lowe, McBurney, Basher, Megan, Baldock, and then there was a couple of other names that, I think are useless, so I didn't bother adding them in and wasting my time, to be brutally honest. So that's everything that you guys need to know. We've got this here from Adrian Chia. Greetings from the Basuma Third Kit Society. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Adrian. Hopefully you're keeping well. Shame he got injured when he did, because he was just sort of playing himself back into form, Adrian. But look, I have no doubt he'll be definitely kept around here over the summer, regardless of people's opinions on him. Big up, Adrian, my man. Let's bloody go today. I really appreciate the support. So let's get into it. Let's kick off the last discussions of the last pre-match build-up of the season. So look, guys, Premier League clubs are set to vote on the removal of VAR. What do you think Tottenham will vote for? And what would you vote for? We'll start with you on this one, Jacko.
Sorry, I was telling Adrian Chia that in the chat that I've gone with the Pierre Mahoyberg Home Kit Society from his first season, and it might be the last time that I ever wear this one, Adrian Chia. So just remember, the Basuma Third Kit Society will live on. Never lose the faith. But Dave, VAR and its removal. I always knew that I was a Gary O'Neill fan. I always kind of confessed to you I was a bit of a sucker, had a bit of a crush on him. And, as I've gotten older, each passing year, past the age of, 26 now, I guess, becoming an old man, I'm becoming more like a Graham Souness, where now I feel like, I want players to show more of that passion, more of that drive. And I've kind of, come a bit fed up with refs more, a bit fed up with VAR more. I just don't really see the point of it. I kind of see there is issues occasionally, I think, even with the implementation of the technology. And I think there's huge issues with the, the Spurs. Dave, give us the update. Go to the ground.
Just quickly, Santiago with a ball, a beautifully delivered ball. Will Lancashire on the end of it, 1-0 to Tottenham under 21s. Let's bloody go. Sorry, Jack.
Come on, Will, let's go.
Sorry, I'm just so passionate because I felt gutted after the final. I need this one. So
we need bounce backs from across all the teams. I think the ladies got to bounce back. We need the under 21s bounce back. We need the men's bounce back. Everybody needs one. But with the VAR, I've been, we've heard that. I think it's to get to it quickly. We heard that it was Gary O'Neill and Wolves that I think have kind of started this potential vote or this meeting. And I think Wolves fans in particular, rightfully so, have been aggrieved for a long time. I don't think they felt like they've had really any decisions go their way really this year, or even I think in seasons gone by with other managers. And I have heard that, like I said, Gary O'Neill, someone who I have liked, has always apparently been a big, kind of hater of the VAR as well. And, they've apparently married the two most, big VAR haters in the Premier League, and they've decided to make a meeting about it. I don't really see it being canceled. I think there's far too much in it for the bigger teams. There's far too much in it for the teams that have set this up for the Champions League, set this up for all these other big competitions. I think they would probably find it kind of silly to bounce back and forth between not using the VAR and using the VAR for whatever competition. And so I imagine that teams like Spurs will vote for it. I don't want them to vote for it. I would love to go back to an era of when we just get to yell at one referee instead of yelling at 2, 3, 4, 5 of them all at the same time. It's getting exhausting. And it would be nice as well to celebrate a goal without, looking at some sort of highlight marker that's, judging, Sonny's toenail or something. I feel like I know Van de Ven got aggrieved, but how many Sonny goals have we seen over our time just being taken away by, it just looks like his hair follicle or something like that. It's just been really just silly over the years. So I'm with Gary O'Neill. I'm with Wolves. Get rid of it. Let's go back to the dark era. Let's go back to the Stone Age. And that's my vote, Dave. But Spurs are going to definitely vote to keep it. Spurs are definitely. I mean, look at all the cameras that Daniel Levy put in. I mean, they're definitely going to vote to keep it.
Yeah. Look, I actually think, Jack, it's going to be a case where I think, the big clubs will vote for it. I think personally they won't want to play, most of their season without VAR and then go into Europe and all of a sudden VAR's in there. I think it sort of hinders them to agree. But look, I've made no secret about it from the very start since its introduction. I haven't liked it. I think it's killing the game personally. I think it's also leading to a lot more injuries, which is how long it's taken some of them to get to decisions with the stop and start sort of nature of games, aka Van de Ven's hamstring injury against Chelsea. I think it's also dictating games and the outcomes of Premier League titles, to be brutally honest with you, to a large degree as well. I remember Liverpool, when the seasons they won it, they got every single decision that other clubs weren't getting. I don't think it's just across the board. Look at Romero, for instance, against Chelsea, get sent off. How many times we've seen the exact same tackle since and not being given? So for me, I've always said, okay, the technology was brought in to improve the game, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, it's still left down to human interpretation. So why don't we just go back to the human interpretation? For me, I think it's a referee the game. It's being re-refereed by people in Stockley Park and stuff like that. So for me, I want to just go back to the normal officials, and go back with that. I'm absolutely sick of it. However, they're not going to get rid of VAR because they can dictate especially the Premier League, can dictate what sort of narrative they want to send out there for the season. Havertz the other day when he left his foot in and ended up winning a penalty, things like that. And they give it so easy and keep Arsenal in it. Anytime Tottenham are looking for a penalty, you don't get replays, or sometimes they don't even look at it. And then when it's tackles in the other end of the box, we're sitting there for 10 minutes waiting for them to come out with a fucking outcome. So for me, I don't like it. I think it's used to push a narrative that we're not a one-horse team like the rest of the leagues across Europe and stuff like that. And for me, I want completely out. I think it leaves it open to corruption and everything else, and I don't like VAR, and I want it gone. It's gone to the point where it's absolutely ruined the game. That's my feelings on it. Push back all you like. You're not going to change my mind. Dharma, up to you, my man.
Look, I agree with everything you said, Dave, on VAR. I don't like it. I prefer to go back to the old days. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the good old days when it was down to a referee. He made the decision. You like it or you lump it. There was an argument in the pub afterwards, but we moved on. I think VAR has been brought in. It's a good system. If the system is run correctly, and if it's run right, then it will work. Like the offside. You've got the automated offside rule now coming in, finally, for next season.
How long do we give it to let them get it right, though, Dharma?
I think VAR, you should get rid of VAR, keep the automated offside system in, because that works. But why do we have to wait to October to get it in, or September? Why not have it in at the start of the season? I mean, it's like, let's give the first 2 months of the new season, let's give all the big teams a head start, and then when we bring it in, it's a level playing field. It's a load of bollocks.
Yeah.
VAR, Philip, who's my partner, says, VAR is a good system, but it's been run by monkeys. I think they've let the loony people in at VAR because it's the most corrupt system I have ever saw in my life. Go back to the good old days. Go back to a ref just refereeing the match. Have an argument after the game. Oh, the ref got this wrong, and we'll move on. We spend 10 minutes. You can't celebrate a goal now. You can't do anything. You're sitting there. And it's like if you're doing a watch-along, you're sitting there going, is it a goal? Is it a goal? You're sitting there for 10 minutes going, twiddling your thumbs. You might as well put an intermission music up. Said, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Get absolutely rid of it. It's a heap of shite, waste of money, and a waste of time. And it's killing my game. But
do you know what, Dharma? I actually hear the argument, where people go, oh, it's the people using it. I understand that argument to make, but I'd actually make the other argument. I think it's making them look even more incompetent than what they've ever looked because of they don't know how to use it or implement it, or else it's just complicating things for me. I'd make that argument.
It is. And if you really think about it, the referees are not refereeing the game. The game's been refereed by somewhere in a dark room with a bunch of tissues just drinking and having a party. Then when he's been told to do some work, he's quickly looking over the screen. Wants to get back to his party. I'll give the penalty and run back again. I'm sure they're half pissed running the game back there. I'm sure they're all drunk and drinking and smoking, whatever. But the game's not being run by the man in the middle, and that's where it should be run.
I wouldn't go that far, Dermot, but they are ordering Uber Eats, to their.
Exactly,
that's been caught
Jack.
before. That's been caught before.
Yeah. Look at the Liverpool game where they brought the two lads back from, where was it? Saudi Arabia, 24 hours before we played Liverpool. And the cock-up they made. That cock-up, that one VA cock-up that we got the goal has gone against us for the whole season. So get rid of it. Get rid of VAR. Let's go back to when it was a proper game, not this computer nonsense.
Stephen Wilson just says quickly, but everyone used to moan about the rest before, but VAR has to go. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Look, I completely agree that everyone used to moan before it came in, but I do feel like a lot of it was media driven. They were the ones that were sort of putting the need for VAR out there because they obviously knew it was coming. So for me, they were doing it to sort of soften up everybody to get to that point, and also, creating it as a massive talking point because they knew it was coming to soften everybody up to sort of give it a chance and stuff like that. But I do think at the time, a lot of them conversations were media driven rather than actually fan driven and stuff like that. What was it? I remember, I think it was Charlie Austin that came out and spoke about a goal or something like that and has called for the introduction of VAR. But interestingly enough, from the podcasts I listen to and stuff like that, it's a massive secret in football. Managers don't want VAR, coaches don't want it, players don't want it, but none of them are coming out and saying it and speaking against it, even though they're all having these conversations amongst themselves that they do not want it. Why? Because they know it's not going anywhere because the money that's being invested. But anyway, Jose, where are you on the VR situation, my man?
Well, now that you guys have said that the semi-automated offside is not coming in, I thought it was going to be from the start of the season.
No, it's coming in September. September, Joseph.
If it's coming in September, like you say, then VAR is going to stay. I don't think they're going to start without VAR and then bring semi-automated offside in. However, what I will say is that it's been an abject failure, VAR, in the Premiership. And the reason why I say that is I understand what you said, Dave, about because it's played in the Champions League and stuff like that. But I watch VAR. VAR has been being used in most leagues around Europe, and it's used for a purpose, and that's it. VAR here in the Premiership, a goal can be scored, and yet somebody is going back, looking back 15 phases to find if anything's happened to annul a goal or give a goal 15 phases back. Surely that is not the purpose to bring VAR in. VAR should be at the vital point and not let's roll it back 2 minutes and see if we can find something else to cancel. The other thing about VAR is some of the decisions that started off this season being given by VAR, and I don't want to sound like I've got sour grapes here, but the tackle that that Romero made on Enzo Fernandez against Chelsea, since then, and he got sent off for that for following through. Since then, there's been about 6 occasions where that has happened in other games, and it seems to have been diluted throughout the season where that tackle got a red, but every tackle since then was similar, didn't get nothing at all, no red whatsoever. And that's not the only one. There are other things as well. It seems to be that everything throughout the season has been diluted by VAR. So things that were given early on, have not been given. Handballs that were being given at the start of the season, these handballs that were occurring, 3 months into the season, stopped being given. So, it's been brought in for absolutely the right reasons, VAR, being used abjectly wrong. I personally, if it was me, I would get rid of VAR. And if we have to go with it, we go with semi-offside technology. I like Dermot as well. Do remember the good old days of just referees doing it. And I still play football now, and we don't have VAR. If the referee gives it and you play to the whistle, he gives it. If he doesn't give it, he doesn't give it. You just play the game on.
That's not what I heard, Jose. I heard the other night you got sent off for a dodgy VAR decision. No
VARs where I play, mate. No VARs where I play. But yeah, to me, yeah, goal line technology is fine because that's really difficult. I mean, I remember the Mendes goal at Man United was clearly over the line and it wasn't given, and we ended up drawing that game 0-0. So yeah, for me, VAR technology, get rid of it. Keep the semi. I think will work. Goal line technology works. The rest of it, let the referees and the linesmen do their job.
Spot on. Couldn't agree more with that. And Donovan, where are you at, my man?
Yeah, well, it's good listening to everyone. I have the great, diverse bit of opinions, but it's kind of all the same line. I'll be the odd man out here. I mean, it's I'm not going to go against it. I do echo what Jose has to say though about a lot of that. That was really well said, man. Here's the thing. I think it has to go back to the standard of refereeing in English football. I think if it's run by monkeys, as what Dermot was saying, how do you really build something off something that's that inconsistent? I think the refereeing itself has always been a problem when it comes to officiating. You look at the sound of the Champions League and other leagues, and what do you compare to? And the actual technology itself, it's ironic as Spurs fans how we are so adamant against VAR, but VAR arguably gave us one of our biggest nights in Spurs history against Manchester City in the Champions League there. and without that call, we wouldn't have had that magic.
Mm.
I agree with what Jose said. We shouldn't be going back trying to scrutinize every goal, because we're at the point right now where we can't even celebrate a goal. And like you said, Dave, that leads to injuries. Like, I'm a firm believer that, players like Mickey Van de Ven and players like Kyle Walker, Henry from Brentford, right? Players that rely on their pace and explosiveness, they can't be sitting around getting cold for 10 minutes waiting for a blazing offside. So if you tweak it a bit, you look at all the major sports leagues around the world, they are using some kind of implemented version of a video assistant referee, whether that's AI based, or just 4 or 5 guys in a room actually sitting down and paying attention to their job. So it's here to stay. There's way too much money involved in it. It benefits the game if it's used right. It hinders it if it's not. Call me splinters.
Fair.
Call me splinters if you want, but I think if you raise a standard of the refereeing in the country too, and that's not even just to do with AI. That's not even to do with VAR. That's just to do with like how you promote your referees as well. You need to bring in referees from all over Europe at a higher standard, and I think that overall will improve the pace of play and the standard of play as well.
Do you think there's a bit of a boys' club kind of within the referee, community, or within at least the top Premier League refs? Do you think they're not really challenged or not really, promoted and kind of sent down enough?
Well, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, English football is the pinnacle of football when it comes to how the league is run, and like Premier League is the best league in the world. As for a boys' club, it's a bit of that, a half a dozen. I think also has to do with a little bit of biasness as well. I mean, I think it's a pride thing as well. It's like we want to protect our product. Therefore, if England, quote unquote, is the home of football, like we want to promote from within. I understand that, but you have to look at the greater good for the game and put the game ahead of everything else, right? And sorry, what's up?
No, go on.
No, and you look at the majority of the teams now. Manchester City, I mean, like, yeah, you have Foden and you have Grealish, but the majority of the talented is they're based off the rest of Europe, and that's with all the European teams. So you do have to get a diverse pool, different way of looking at the game. The game's evolving. It's no longer a high up ball in the air, Brexit, etc. So yeah, I'm here for VAR. I think it needs to be ironed out, but no more of this waiting 6-7 minutes to support a goal. Because I look at it, Dave and Jack, to your demo, that I want to do everything for my team to win the game. So if that goal goes in, you bet I'm thinking about a player that got fouled five minutes ago and hoping that'll call it back, right? Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's not the way to look at it. But that's what VAR is introducing the game. So yeah, there's something to do about it. And I mean, you would feel aggrieved if that Aguero goal was given and you look back and it was offside, right? So there's 2 ways to look at it.
No, look, I hear what you're saying. First of all, thank you for giving a difference of opinion on that. I really appreciate that. Look, just what I would say is that, first of all, I don't think because we benefit off it on the Champions League run on the Champions League final run that we should be, using it as an advocate for VAR. I could argue many of decisions that have gone against us with VAR that should have been given to us and stuff like that. But, for me, they've had long enough to get this right. And, VAR is a bigger talking point after the weekend rather than the actual football that's being played, rather than the scrutiny on, patterns of play, coaches, decisions, players, etc. VAR has become the biggest talking point. I think it's absolutely disgraceful that that's the case, because football is what we're all here for at the end of the day, not VAR. As for, the people using it, we can get on their back and stuff like that, but their job is being made complicated. They're giving decisions on the field, and then it's going to Stockley Park for checks and stuff like that, and even with VAR, they're still not getting the majority of decisions right. It's still down to subjective views and stuff like that. And for me, how much longer do we keep giving them to try and get it? Because right now, what they're doing is trial running a technology in football. If it's coming into football where there's such high margin, such big money involved, That should be ready to go off the bat, not sitting there trial running it over the amount of seasons that we have. Because some stuff that is allowed this season hasn't been allowed in previous seasons and stuff like that. And it almost seems to me that they're starting to bend the rules to suit VAR rather than actually bend the rules to suit the game. Last thing I'm going to say before we move on, because I don't want to get bogged down on the whole VAR thing, is that in other sports, in other leagues, you get away with it. Cricket, it's nowhere near as high octane as football is, or at the speed that it's played at. You know, rugby, nowhere near the speed that football is played at. 9 times out of 10, the ball moves from there to there. In football, it can go from there to there, just like that. I think football is way too quick for something like VAR, because all it's doing is ruining the pace of the game, the flow of the game, and absolutely everything else. And I actually think, when I look at it from an outside perspective, take my pre-opinions out of it, I think it's actually hindering the game a lot more than what it's actually helping the game, to be brutally honest. But look, I will go on. You can all have one more thing to say, and then we're moving on, because, like I said, VAR is not the main focus of today.
Look, for me,
Thank you.
For me, I think if the Premier League want to make this the best product in the world, and they keep saying it's the best league in the world, then I think the Premier League have a role to play in this as well. If they want to protect their product, then they need to put the football first, not technology. And in the long run, VAR is hurting the product of the Premier League. Because if you look at other leagues seem to run with it fine. There doesn't seem to be much problem with it. If it is, I don't know if it's played in Serie A or the Bundesliga. I think it's not. I can't remember, but
it is.
Yeah, but you don't hear any problems out there. So I think it's not VAR in itself. I think it's the Premier League who have implemented it into the Premier League, where the British game is a faster game than it is in Europe. It's a totally different pace of game. So David's spot on what. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to drag it on, but it was in my head that the Premier League are probably more at fault at this than anyone else, because they're now hurting their product.
I think another funny thing yeah, go ahead, Donovan.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, like, I think it's also a pride thing as well, too. Like, I mean, like, obviously I'm pro VAR, but, like, when you come out with that much chest and you're like, you invested multi-millions of dollars into this organization, even you demand teams like Luton Town to remodel their stadium and update their technology bases. Yeah, you are going to defend it tooth and nail. Just because you have something right and you don't use it right, I mean, you're going to die on that sword? I don't think so. But you look at the pace of the game, like, obviously it's two different sports. But I mean, like, you look at ice hockey, right? And I'm looking at last night's call. There's a couple instances where, you know, our game's playing at 100 miles per hour, but the people involved, like Dan said, 100 miles down the road, 100 kilometers down the road, that's not their job to interfere the game and make their decision bigger than the game. They're not there to be the center of attention. They're there to analyze, scrutinize, and if something happens, alert that referee, have a process already set up where you're alerted, you come to the iPad, you come to the monitor, you get it pointed out, done. Here you go. Mate, you might have missed something. Or here, this is obvious, you need it done. It's not their job to overanalyze every single asset of the game. If, like you said, if Emerson's toenail was offside, you know, like, if that doesn't have an effect on the phase of play, don't call it. So it's triage. It needs to be done. It needs to be relooked at. Different policies need to be made. But that's the evolution of the game, right? You're getting different offside calls now. Like, there's a bloody different offside call every 3 years, right? They're trying to introduce sin bins. They're trying to introduce cards, blue, orange, get the whole rainbow out here, right? So ultimately, I think what we can all agree on is that we have to put football first and the integrity of the game. And we want there to be high scoring games, and we want there to be high octane level games that the passion level isn't dropping. Like Dermo said, 5-minute breaks. We don't want to be introducing the AT&T VAR check, you know, like, it needs to be done quick, it needs to be taken, because right now, what did Ange say? We're not training for 90-minute games anymore. We're training for 100, 110, 115-minute games anymore. And that's going to introduce injuries, and that's going to introduce a higher player load, especially in a 50, 60, 70 game season. So if some of the high sports, like you said, Dave, can make it work and not have any effect on the quality of the product, then the Premier League needs to get their act together. And if they're going
No,
to
but
keep
like
it,
I was
use
saying,
it
I
right.
think you're missing the point, Donovan. I think I'm saying that a lot of the other games that's introduced in, sports, it's nowhere near as quick as football, nowhere near as end to end as football and stuff like that. So
Well,
I don't think they'll ever get to
I'd
what
argue that
happened in
North American
football.
basketball and hockey is different. But like you said, you don't want to die on this hill. It's VAR, right? Like, it's not supposed to be like. Ironically enough, you don't want VAR to take over this stream and be a thing. Just like we don't want VAR to take over a game, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Jose, last say on it, my man.
I've got nothing further to add on what I said earlier. I'm quite clear in what I said earlier. Nothing's changed my mind.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Guys, just quickly, Chelsea missed a huge opportunity. They took the ball off Luke Gunter. Luke Gunter squared it across the box, and I don't know how your man's put it over the bar from 6 yards, but he has. But it's still Tottenham under 21s, 1-0 to good in the semi-final. Jacko, lots of fans have been upset. Actually, we'll go to you on this one first, Dermo. Dermo, lots of fans have been upset with Ange after his recent words of accusing the fan base of being sort of fragile and his altercation with a fan. Has he hurt his relationship with the Spurs fan base, or was he justified?
No, he hasn't hurt his reputation with the Spurs fans. I think he's justified in his opinion. He's justified in what he feels, and he's justified in what he wants to say. If fans want to let that hurt their reputation with Postecoglou, with Ange, then it's down to them. For me, he hasn't hurt my feelings. He called it out. He saw it and he called it out. And fair play to him for calling it out. And I don't think I had a problem with it whatsoever. I did not have a problem with what he said. He was right in what he said. And if fans take issue with that, then that's down to them. But I didn't find an issue with it, and I back him 100% on it in Ange we trust. Always.
Fair. Jose, where are you at with Postecoglou, and the sort of fallout over the course of the week over the Man City game? I mean, do you think he's damaged his reputation with Spurs fans to a degree? Or do you think, it could be the other way around, right? Spurs fans damaged their reputation to a degree.
Postecoglou hasn't damaged any reputation whatsoever. When you've got a numpty in the crowd giving it to him, Postecoglou is a human being like everyone else. I don't get this shit about how much you get paid and who you are, blah, blah, blah. You're a human being at the end of the day. If someone walked down the street and started giving you jip, you'd turn around and you'd do something about it, wouldn't you? So it doesn't matter whether you're in a fucking football stadium, walking down the street, in a cinema, fucking in McDonald's. It doesn't matter where you are, you're going to react. So he reacted to one individual, not to the whole crowd, just to one individual, and therefore he hasn't tarnished himself. He's just a human being at the end of the day. Simple.
Okay. Donovan, where are you at with it, my man?
Yeah, it was he came out and he was very, very strong with what he said, and I don't think he actually believed that the Spurs fan base would react in the way they did when it came to Arsenal. But at least he held his hands up at the end in that pregame and said, "Hey, if you want somebody to blame, somebody put his head on a stick, it's me." So I mean, if he can take it, he dish it out as good as he can take it. At least it shows accountability. And Ange we trust, man. I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill, but I was watching the game and I was torn the whole week. It's fun to joke about it at the beginning, like, oh yeah, we're gonna sing Blue Moon, Jack's gonna get his IPAs going. It's good and all, but when it came closer and closer to it, I'm just thinking, wow, what's actually gonna happen? Like, I felt sick. Like, I felt like, oh my goodness, like, I'm actually gonna root against Tottenham Hotspur. And then as the game kicked off and I saw them walking down the tunnel, and I was like, no, we gotta go and beat these lot, And I really rivaled Bentancur, and it's really ironic because we played at one of our best games of the season, right? And we had Pape Sarr playing the false nine. So, they're a different beast. The City last couple games of the season, they're probably going to win this game anyway in our rebuild. But no, I don't think Ange did anything other than maybe kind of cement his view more, knowing that he's that guy. He's gonna stand up for what he believes in, and he's got very strong conviction.
Fair enough, Jack. That's 3 people that believe Ange is right in his conviction. I mean, where do you stand?
I mean, I just have come to the conclusion that it seems like every Spurs manager, has to go through this sort of coming of age kind of like ceremony. And I think that's when they basically have this huge blow up at the end of the season in some sort of manner where they just lose their cool, they lose their chill, they maybe just sort of don't look like the cool and composed version of themselves. Whether you think it was justified or not for Ange to lose his composure in the way that he did, I think it's been something that we've seen from every Spurs manager of the last 3 or 4, really. So I've just come to accept, Dave, that it's all part of the cycle. He has to do it at one stage. Why not do it at this point at the end of the season? And also, it's become a cycle where we always end up with some sort of split in the fan base after the manager has his kind of blow up of some sort of kind, or after he has some sort of maybe slightly off. Maybe off script is how I would call it, kind of, press conference where he just goes completely against what people expect. Because that was also, I think, similar to maybe, I don't think it was a similar speech or similar points really that much to a Jose and a Conte in the same way, but it was sort of like unexpected in how they did it as well, where you're kind of like everything was sort of fine. And then all of a sudden they just, kind of have this, this real thing that they have to drive home, or this real passionate point that they have to make. And, I appreciate it, Dave. It's all part of the cycle of the trauma of being a Spurs manager. I think, Ange has had his moment. Whether you think it was right or not, he has to stand for something, and he has to make, every manager has done it so far. Fair play to him.
Do you know what? For me, look, I think regardless of what side of the fence you sat on, I think you could all look back after the game and just go, look, the situation ain't quite right. And I think Ange is, entitled to, and I think he's right to call it out regardless of where you sat on the fence, during the week and stuff like that. I do feel like, to a degree, I feel like, Tottenham were gaslit heading into this game. There's a lot of talk about winning mentality heading into this game, but we hadn't shown any winning mentality, or where's the talk of winning mentality on the games building up to this and stuff like that. And I do stand by that. I think that's okay. If fans are going to be asked about winning mentality, I think it's okay for fans to ask the team about where was their winning mentality and stuff to a certain degree. Like some Madison, Kulusevski coming out and saying they want to win, I fully get it. They're not fans of the club. I fully expect them guys to win. I'd be worried if they wanted to throw that game, which there were some staff, I believe, inside, the camp that wanted to throw that game, which also irked Ange Postecoglou. But ultimately, he's right. And one thing I would say is maybe this is the last thing that needed to happen. The owners have had their attention. Now the fans, the players, the managers have had their scrutiny and everything else. Maybe it's the last thing that needed to happen now for us all, maybe to get back on the one sort of hymn sheet with a direction going forward underneath Ange Postecoglou. One thing I will say, to be fair to Ange Postecoglou, I don't think he's ruined his reputation with the Spurs fan base, because there was a lot of fans, in general across all social media platforms calling him out, long before that. So I don't think he's ruined his reputation to a degree. I think he might have hurt it a little bit more than what some Spurs fans already think of the guy. But do you know what? I do think he had a solid press conference, pre-match press conference in the build-up to this, where he sort of, tried to... He standed firm on his belief, but he tried to maybe, heal the fraction that was maybe there after the fallout and stuff like that. And also committed himself to the club going forward, with his words and stuff like that, which I think is absolutely brilliant in that regard. So hopefully we can all heal from this and move forward. Maybe it becomes a blessing in disguise. But you're right, Jack, and one thing you said. Every manager since Pochettino has had something similar in and around the same
called
sort
the
of thing
club
to say.
fragile, has made points about the things above. Here's the thing, Dave. I mean, Pochettino, washing machine, furniture, right? Those references. With Jose Mourinho, it was always like, these just constant points of like, I'm trying to change, the ethos of Daniel. I'm trying to change the ethos of this club. We want to be winners. We have to become, C words, that sort of thing. And then we know Conte's most recent one. They've all done it in some sort of shape or form, where they've had some blow up at the people above them, and even to a degree to the outside as well, of the club. So it's all, it's all part of the coming of age.
Yeah, you said it yourself there, Jack, like winning. And that's something that's unfortunately lost in our culture right now. We look at the evolution of the Premier League when it became the Premier League in early 2000s. These established juggernauts and these established household names, and Tottenham have unfortunately failed to rubber stamp their name at the premier of the modern Premier League. And that's something that starts, like you said, at the core and not on the foundation and in the top. and to change that, that's something
Yeah.
we've never experienced. And when you get these proven winners, a lot of them touching silverware games, months, weeks before coming to Tottenham, and they can see the drop off in certain mentality levels all throughout, it's going to be tough, because you can't just come in and teach somebody a different language and they have no idea what the hell you're saying. So yeah, it's really unfortunate to see. It's giving, like, it causes divide amongst us. There's civil wars going on at every little thing. We seem to be at each other's throats for the smallest things. But I fully back the guy. He's confident, and he will take us where we need to go.
Well, look, we do have a super chat from Lazy 8, so give me 1 minute and I'll throw it out there. You know, it's sort of maybe different opinion to maybe all of us here. So I want to see where, especially, you know, Donovan, Jose, and you know, Dermatron are on this. But just quickly, well, not quickly. First of all, big up Mr. Davy Shire. Really appreciate the support. And by the way, really appreciate the support over the whole season, my man. It's been absolutely incredible. And not just here. I don't know how you do it and where you get the time, but you spread it across, you know, multiple channels across the community. So big yourself up, Mr. Shire. And he says, big up Dave, Jack, Jose, and Donovan. Thank you for the year, Cobbers. Come on, you Spurs. Look, again, you know, as much as you guys want to thank us, we thank you guys tuning in, liking, subscribing, supporting, membership, super chatting, etc. You know, it's twofold. So big yourself up, Davy Shire. Really appreciate it, my man. Jack, anything you want to say to Davy Shire before we move on?
Thanks, Davey, for making the fan show community, I think, a bit bigger this season. I think you've given lots of fan show memberships to people out there, and I imagine maybe plenty of debuts have been thanks to yourself, or have even, you know, helped someone else, you know, get the, you know, the courage to come on and speak with Dave and I. And so appreciate you for that, my friend. I think you've made the fan shows even bigger this year because, of course, we have so many regulars that have done it for a long, long time. But I think we're getting a lot more people this year than maybe last year that are kind of, you know, calling in, you know, that are, you know, kind of, I would call new regulars is maybe the way to put it. So that's thanks to people like Davy Shire. Big up, sir.
Big up, David, my man. Like I said, really do appreciate it. It must be something in the name as well. I mean, all great people are called David, you know, even David v. Goliath and David won. So, you know, big up Mr. Shire. And then we also have this from Lazy 8 and another one. Big up, Nick, my man. Really do appreciate all the support you've given us over the last few years, my man. And he says, pointing a finger at the fans left a bad taste in my mouth. It changed my personal connection with Ange. In no way did it diminish my support of him as manager. I still think he's the man for the job. I mean, look, any of you guys, you know, chomping at the bit to get at this one?
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the first point because you as a manager, that is your workplace. That is where you do your job. It's like me saying to you, Dave, oh, you're not doing a good job. You're going to tell me to F off. Right? Aren't you? To be fair, you would. You would. Let's be fair. Let's call the spade a spade. You would. Yeah. So Ange had every right to defend it. If a fan's there saying to him, I want you to throw the game, his integrity is at stake here. And that's what it was all about. It's about his integrity. So if I was Ange, I have no problem what done. He shows he cares. He shows he cares about the club. He cares about what he's doing, and he cares about his integrity. And his integrity means everything to him, like it does to all of us. I have no problem what he did whatsoever, and I hope the fan got chucked out because it was absolutely disgusting that a Tottenham fan can shout abuse at a person, at our manager, and he has to stand there and take it. I wouldn't take it. I'd tell him to F off as well. So he had every right to say what he said.
Couldn't you say, I don't want to be smart, Dermot, but maybe it's just more to be in support of Nick here, or maybe I'm not supporting Nick in the best way I can. But shouldn't his integrity also be questioned when he goes 3-0 down in the North London derby at home? Shouldn't his integrity be questioned when he goes 4-0 down to Liverpool? Shouldn't his integrity be questioned when he goes 2-0 down to Chelsea and the players completely give up on him? Shouldn't his integrity be questioned when this is the first time ever that someone's been in a top 4 position like we were and then ended up falling outside of the top 4? I mean, I think a lot of things like that, you know, would question your integrity, not just this random Man City game.
Yeah, but no fans attacked Ange then. No fans were shouting at Ange and calling him to throw a game. That was
Yeah,
the
so
thing. I
Nick
think
feels
that's
like
what.
he didn't question Ange
Look,
during those times. So
I'm not questioning Nick's comment. I'm questioning, pointing the finger. I don't agree with. It wouldn't leave a bad taste in my mouth, and it didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth. Every fan's different. Every fan has their own opinion. Every fan's their own opinion should be respected. And I respect Nick's opinion more than anyone, like yours and everyone on this channel. But it didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth. Ange had every right to defend himself. And you are right in what you're saying, the games before that, but also that's down to the players as well. They didn't perform on the pitch when they went out there. They didn't follow the manager's instructions. So for me, I have no problem with Ange done. Respect to Nick's point, and I really do respect his point, but it didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth, and I think Ange had every right to do what he did.
Well, Jack, you sort of think, there could be a point to what Nick's saying. You maybe feel like there could be a lot more people feeling like Nick. They're still fully behind this manager, but maybe that connection with them being called out and stuff like that, maybe it's changed a little.
I mean, I think I'm in a similar boat to Nick, where I don't really appreciate being called out by the manager, especially after he's lost the last 5 of 6 games. And yes, I understand that this was a very special case scenario where, yeah, the situation was very awkward for him, very in a way, unlivable. Like, I think no one would ever want to be put through that again. Even me myself, very conflicted about it. I would take back a lot of what I said originally, and I would definitely, do it differently all over again. But still, like, he was the one in charge of that game, and he gave it a better effort, of course. And I think he should have actually been, for the most part, pretty proud of himself, actually, after that performance, than really going out and attacking. I think I'm fine with him attacking the fragility of the club. I think we've heard that from plenty of managers, and, we know it's to be true. But after losing 5 of the last 6 games in the manner that we did, and also to go through this sort of roller coaster of a season in the manner that we did, and also just to be a Spurs fan. I mean, come on, lads. I mean, no one puts up through this shit, if they're not a hard, kind of fan, at least of some kind. You do have to have thick skin to be a Spurs fan. We put up with a lot. We go through a lot of torture. We've seen some horrible players stick here for a long time. We've seen some embarrassing knockouts. So for him to call us fragile, even if it's true, I did think was a bit maybe poor timing or ill timing of the case. Of course, I think Ange is allowed, though, like I just said, he's allowed to have a blow up. He's allowed to maybe say something that's probably true, but maybe not at the best of timing or anything like that. He's a manager, for crying out loud. He's not a fan like me, and I can also grow with a pair, and I can be thick skin as well. And I think the next day I sort of did kind of look past it and did sort of just realize, what, he's allowed to see it his way. I can sort of feel it my way. And I think, like everybody in the chat saying, it's not really that much of a big deal anymore. And that's what I sort of feel about it. But I do empathize a little bit with what Nick is saying, in that I didn't really diminish my support of him. But did I take that well? Not necessarily.
Fair point. I mean, Donovan, Jose, anything you want to say on the back of Jack and Dermo here?
Go for it, Jose.
I think it's pretty difficult, right? In any normal walk of life, right? So at work now, right, I manage big teams, right? And if my team ain't performing, I don't have to wait 9 months, 10 months to do transfers and stuff like that. It's in football, you've got to play with the hand you're dealt with for a whole season. So therefore, to me, when you question integrity, I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, if you're going to look at that, you have to look at the whole club, players, manager, everyone has got us to the position that we are now this season. Your ups and downs have been through the players and the manager. So I'm not sure where all this biting towards Ange is coming from, because I think a lot of the issues that we've had throughout the season have come down to players and not actually Ange. When you're talking about, like Jack said, about some of the games that we were down in and stuff like that, I mean, I go back and just think to myself, the run that we had in November, that weren't the manager's fault. All them injuries, that weren't the manager's fault. That's just unheard of, So at the end of the day, I just think, things have been said. It's been a really weird week. Things have been said all left, right, and centre by everybody. And I just think we just need to move on from what's been said in the week and just look forward. Now, I spoke to I know we're Tottenham here, but I spoke to a Chelsea fan. I've got Chelsea mates that go, that season ticket holders, and on the social media platforms, they're all saying Poch out. So I said to him, "Is that how it's felt in the stadium? Is that how the fans really feel?" And he said, "No." He said the fans are Poch in. It's only social media that's Poch out. So I'd question in the stadium, the fans at Tottenham, you'll probably find that the majority, and I'm talking heavy duty majority, at least 90% of the fans are hands in, not hands out, are hands in. It's only what's played out on social media, that people want hands out. I just think to myself, do you know what? Just there's bigger fish to fry. There's a lot more things to worry about at the club than what happened this week.
Mm.
Water under the bridge. Let's just move on. Do you know what I mean? Things have been said, rightly or wrongly, by lots of different places. Let's just move as one. Get on with it.
I liked what Shemtan had to say. There's been manager after manager saying shit about our fans, club, personnel, team, and players. I've just basically become numb to it all now.
Mm.
I think that's
Mm.
actually, how I was sort of trying to phrase
Mm.
it, Nick, where even if I sort of agree with you, I think I've heard it so many times from managers before in the past that kind of learned to accept that probably there is some truth to it.
Mm. Mm. I also like this one from Spurs GCTV. Just quickly, Nick, and I'll get back to it. It says, when is a good time to call out the lack of winning mentality from the players, fans, and everyone else in the club? The guy wants to win and change it. Everyone's mentality. And do you know what? I'm fully behind that. I think, everyone, you ask any fan, does there need to be a change of mentality at this club? I think they'll all fully agree with it. What I don't like is, I think, there was a lot of spotlight put on the fans, and obviously, people doing the posing inside the stadium and stuff like that didn't help, right? The image of the video of the fan coming out having a go at Postecoglou, didn't help. It sort of, blew it up. But what I would say is, rather than start attacking each other and stuff like that, because believe it or not, this is what everyone on the outside wants. It's what the media want. It's what all our rivals want. It's what the Premier League want. Is for all of us to focus on each other and the blame game. What should actually be happening is, the big question should be, and if we want to move on from this is what we need to start talking about. How did we end up in this position?
Spot
And
on,
how do
Dave.
we fix things so we don't end up in this position again?
Spot on.
That's where everything should be. And I don't like it where, there's a lot of infighting, people ripping each other apart, and it's not going to do anything. All we're arguing about is who's the better fan, because we have no trophies to be celebrating and stuff like that. So all we're arguing about is who's the best fan out there, who's the number one fan. Fuck that shit. I couldn't give a shit. Everyone's a fan. Everyone pays their money, to support this club in whatever way they feel like. So you're more than entitled to go and support the club whatever way you want. You pay your money to do it, whether it's through TV revenue that goes back to them, merchandise, match day tickets and stuff like that. But instead of sitting here, with having a swing and dick competition, let's actually, plot a way forward so we don't be put in this position again. That's where I'm at with the whole lot. Donovan, we'll let you have your say, my man, and then I want to get to the back end of Nick's super chat as well.
Yeah, I don't want to flog a dead horse here. I think we all in the same agreement here. I'll just leave it with, I think we do have the best fans in the Premier League. Yeah, up there with the Geordies. We have pride. We go to away games even when we're 3 wins out of 8. I was really, really proud on how we turned up at Liverpool and Anfield and how we were still singing really loud 60, 70, 80 minutes in. Stamford Bridge every year we get tonked, but we still go up there with our chest. The Arsenal Stadium, they had to play the music loud just to over hear us on the Drake TV broadcast. So yeah, I don't think he was questioning our passion. It's just our mentality, and you go back to what Jose said. You gotta be see you next Tuesday, right? You gotta be that, and every level of winner has that bit of arrogance and that bit of confidence and that ability to say what's on their mind without caring or retribution. And that's just what winners do, because it's war out there. You don't win anything by being the nice guy. Oh, here, help you up off the ground, or here, help you do this, whatever. No, it's me against you, and I'm gonna come out on top. And that comes down from our leader and the way he speaks. And it rattles some of us because we were just so starved for any sort of winning. Yeah, I think sorry, Jose said, water under the bridge. We don't need to be divided by this. We need to refocus, go on to the transfer window, start again next season, and
Mm.
and see what happens then, because he's shown himself. It's not even what happens when he lost. What happened when he was winning? He was saying the exact same stuff too. This isn't my space. This isn't my team. This isn't my finished product. Yeah, we may look good, but our attack's still there. Like, he's always been preaching the same thing. It's a process, and it's a one step at a time. So give the guy a bit of leeway.
Yeah, and I think I feel the same way, Donovan. I think whether even some people agree with what he said wholeheartedly or disagree with him wholeheartedly, I think every manager deserves this sort of moment and deserves this sort of leeway, because if we don't give them this sort of leeway, then no one is going to stand a chance. And honestly, like someone else, and you had it on screen, Dave. I mean, being a Tottenham manager, it's like being the president or something. You rapidly age. It's like having a toxic
Yeah.
girlfriend, really, is of a job. So they're
Mm.
allowed to have these sort of blow ups, and they all said the same thing, instilling a winning mentality of some sort. So big up to Nick. Hopefully you're keeping well this morning, sir. You might have saw me on my little cry run while I thought of the Emerson Royale and Pierre Højbjerg leaving, and you saw a sweaty man running past your house. Big up to you, Nick. Yeah, sorry, Dave.
Big up, Nick. No, just quickly. So the back end of Nick's super chat here, I still think he's the man for the job. It's the next question I have coming up. But we'll also take two J's here. And he says, what bothered me is that he tried a different system which really worked, and not trying it against the others. Kulu had his first good match in ages. Do you know what, 2J? I'm going to have my say on it. And look, I already know you're going to disagree with me completely, right? But I get what people have been saying about, making tweaks and stuff like that, right? I get it to a degree. But he made the tweaks and we still didn't go and win the game of football. So, but what I will say is I see a lot of people going, why didn't he just move Van de Ven out to left back instead of playing Davies in the North London derby? Okay, I get it, right? Us fans, we've seen years of Davies. We knew it was never going to work. But, we ask the same questions under every manager. Why did he play Davies in this game? The reality is the managers work off meritocracy. If you got a Doji injured and Davies your backup left back, he has to play him. Don't blame him. Blame the squad or blame the people above him that gave him Davies to work with going into this season. Then Davies got injured. He used the only other available fit fullback at the football club, which was Emerson. So he put a fullback, not on his natural side, but put a fullback in a fullback position, which is logical. It makes sense. Most of us that play Football Manager or FIFA would do the exact same thing, and then obviously it didn't work out. So then it got to the point where he did try something different. So I get the argument where people are like, why didn't he do it sooner? But we forget that this season, the guy has to find out who's with him, who's not, who can handle the big games, who can't, etc. And sometimes, it means putting them on blast. It means putting them out there. If they can't do it, they're exposed, and send the message to the people up, above in the transfer committee and stuff, and going, look, this can't happen next season. This is why it's going to come back to haunt us. You have to change it up. So I understand what people are asking of Postecoglou 2J, but I just feel like we ask the same. Like, I hear a lot of people going, go to a back three. Okay, but everyone hated the back three underneath Antonio Conte. It was too defensive, etc., etc. You know what I mean? And I just feel like no matter what manager comes in here at Tottenham Hotspur, we don't give them a fair opportunity. We always end up at this point come the end of the season. Why did he do this? Why didn't he do that? Why is he not playing this formation? And it gets to the point where we actually almost asked them to abandon their principles, their philosophy, and everything that got them to the top of the game, and asking them to change and adapt it towards Tottenham Hotspur. I would argue, I think that's outdated. I think that's what teams below us, that are fighting relegation and want to beat a relegation drop, bring in a manager to come in and suit the squad that they've had. You look at Jurgen Klopp. Did he come in? Did Liverpool turn around to him and go, no, you play with this exact squad? No, they didn't. They accepted that it needed to be changed, and they built the squad in his image. Did Arsenal do that to Arteta? No, they didn't. They accepted that they needed to bring in a squad in his image. They went and done it. And to a degree, same with Guardiola when he walked in at City. He didn't win the league the first year, and then he went out and dropped 120 million on fullbacks and stuff like that to be able to put the right pieces in place And for me, this is what we need to allow a manager to do. We can't keep sacking them and keep asking them to change everything at the end of every season. You've got to let a manager work things out, and you've got to give him time. But that's where I'm at with it. Jack, do you want to add to what 2J has to say here?
This might be annoying to 2J because I'm sort of repeating a similar word here, but I do feel like it's similar where a manager, I agree, like I think Ange probably got it wrong with, because he brought up in the chat that Emerson was played again after a really terrible performance. And I do agree, he was terrible against Liverpool. And then he played against Chelsea as well. And he was also terrible. And he played him again, which was probably not the right decision. It's just that managers before have been put in these, I think, awkward, tricky situations with injuries, with sort of the squad, and, you know, having to preserve maybe a player's, you know, kind of longevity in the case of Mickey Van de Ven. And they've all maybe made a decision that maybe some of us agreed with, that some of us disagreed with. You could even look at last season when it comes to Antonio Conte, how much people wanted him to play Jed Spence and how people were willing to practically sack him over the fact that he just wasn't playing Jed Spence. Let's be honest, Jed Spence hasn't ripped up any trees at the last 2 or 3 loan spells that he had, you know, at various clubs and in systems that I think would certainly work for him. And then maybe he was right about that. But then also a lot of people were pretty upset that he didn't play guys like Pop Matasar, which I think was a huge mistake on Antonio Conte's part. It's just that you have to kind of trust them, and you have to trust that eventually they'll get it right. I think if we're going to start kind of ripping them apart with each little maybe thing that we might feel like they're getting wrong, which they well and could be getting it wrong. Like, I'm agreeing with 2J. I think he did get that wrong. He probably should have put in Van de Ven on the left and given Dragishin another chance sooner. But I'm going to give him that leeway to, you know, better understand the squad, to better understand which players he can keep and which players he can trust. Perhaps there was maybe a bit of trust there with Emerson, 2J. Maybe he felt like he really liked Emerson and he felt like he could rely on the guy. And then Emerson put up 2 or 3 stinkers pretty much in a row. And now Emerson's season and Emerson's future at Spurs could now be gone. Whereas before those games, maybe it was, you know, preserved. Maybe there was a bit of trust there between him and Ange. And in his first season, I'm going to allow him that sort of leeway. I'm going to allow him these mistakes. But I agree with you. I think he should have done it sooner, but maybe there was something having to do with him wanting to figure out Emerson is good enough, that sort of thing.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Big up 2J, my man. Really appreciate it.
Dave.
Huh?
My word of the day is leeway. I'm gonna
No,
try
look,
to stop using it.
I think there has to be a bit of a leeway given to a manager. Look, he's not going to get everything right, and he's not perfect, but nor should we expect him to when he doesn't have a squad that he wants or that he's comfortable or that he's happy with. So I think, you know, it's a bit of give and take from both, to be brutally honest. And, you know, I just feel like a lot of the Ange out noise, you know, it's sort of like, okay, but when does this stop? You know, people question tactics, team selections, etc. We do this under every single fucking manager. For one, I'm sick of coming out the back end of every single season with things being asked of the same manager. Jack, I feel like I'm repeating myself every single time, but it will not change unless we give a manager time and give him a chance to change. But all of a sudden, we think sacking a manager and all our problems are gone out the door with him. It's sadly that's the case. It hasn't been proven that that's the case. So, you know, we need to try a different approach, a different attack. But big up 2J. Just quickly, I just want to ask Jason Naz. Listen, guys, next season, Happy Clappers would say after we fail, we win. What can Ange do? Suns fell, form off. Look, what I will say is that, like this, I get what you're saying, right? But this is what needs to stop. First of all, what is the definition of a happy clapper? I don't understand what the definition of a happy clapper is. Someone that supports their team when they're winning games or whatever. I'm not sure. But please let me know. Second of all, the labeling of each other's of the difference of opinions have to stop as well. We're all Spurs fans. We're all passionate. Everyone sees it a different way. Stop labeling each other shit. You know, it's a part of the problem. We need to start trying to move forward, start trying to unite going forward. But guys, I want to find out. So, of course, we got there eventually. Dark Sung G nearly tested the waters when he brought it up, nearly jinxed it, but it looks like we're here, Jacko. Ange Postecoglou is the first manager to be in charge for a whole season since Pochettino. Let that one sink in. The first manager since Pochettino to be in the dugout for a full season. Madness that we're in this position. I want to know off you guys. We'll start with you, Dermot, and Jose and Donovan. What do you make of his management this season? And is he the right man for the pain-filled rebuild?
Yeah, I think
line
he
with
is.
what 2J and Nick have been saying.
Look, I think Ange is the right man for the job. Oh, I've seen what he did up in Celtic, and I know what he's like. So Ange for me is the top man. He's the man to take us forward. I always go back to like when Keith Birkinshaw first took over back in '77, the year we got relegated. If we got rid of Keith Birkinshaw after that season, we would never have got Ozzy and Ricky. We would never won 2 FA Cups and a UEFA Cup. So we showed that sacking managers left, right, and centre does not work. You need to give a manager time. Ange is there back him, and he is going to be backed in the summer. I know he is, and I know it's going to be a busy summer for Tottenham, which will please you guys and everyone here. And I think we're going to see a very different Tottenham next season. A very well-organised, attacking, free-flowing Tottenham Hotspur that will actually attack the league. And it's because of Ange and Ange we trust. I think Ange will take us to glory. I've got no doubt about that 100%.
What do you make of his management this season, Dermo?
Look, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone learns. It's his first year in the Premier League, so it's a learning process for him as well as it is for us. But look, I think he hasn't made a lot of mistakes. Okay, he's made a few mistakes here and there, but everyone's human. Everyone makes mistakes. But I think he's learned from them. That's the important thing. And I think he will take that into next season, what he's learned this season, and adapt and move on and add to it. And I think that's where he's going to become a great success for us, because he is willing to learn. He is willing to adapt. And if he gets the players in that he wants and they adapt to his system, I think we're going to be a force in the Premier League next season. And I think with another year under his belt, I think Ange will avoid the pitfalls from this season. The only thing I would criticise him for is the League Cup, but I think that was more on the players than him. I think he had to find out what players he had to get rid of before the end of that summer window. So, look, it was disappointing to go out the Cups early, but apart from that, I think he's going to come back bigger, stronger, and more of a winner next season. I've got no doubt he will succeed.
Fair. I mean, Jose, where are you at with it? Because Mike Reyes also says, but it's fact that Ange bottled top four. We can't just brush it under the carpet. Jose?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Right, I'm gonna. I've been working in my field for just over 30 years. With my present employer, I've been here for just over 6. I came in and I inherited teams. Over 6 years, I've changed my teams, right? And there's objectives that you need to meet. I've met my objectives every year whilst changing my team and making things better and better. It's no different to what Postecoglou is doing at Tottenham. It's his first season coming into the club. He's got to survey. He's got to see what he's got. Obviously, at the start of the season, once the summer transfer window closed, we knew that was a deck of cards that we were going to play with throughout the season. Now we've had to play with that deck of cards. Some hands have worked, some hands have not. Now that he knows which ones have worked and which ones hasn't, he'll cast that aside this summer, and we will bring other pieces into play that will help take us forward next season. So for me, the one thing is we need a manager to be with us, right? Which we haven't had a manager. Everyone, it's highly documented. For 5 years, we haven't had a manager that's finished the season. So we can tick that one off. That's going to happen after today's game. 1 season, 1 manager. Then in the summer transfer window, because if you listen to his press conference the other day, he turned around and said 2 separate press conferences. One, he turned around and said that he's looking to change the personnel behind and in the back room and that. And he says that the hierarchy keep throwing resources at him and say, what do you want? What do you need in order to make this a success? He said this in the press conference. Furthermore, in another press conference that was this week, he turned around and said that this has not affected any of the summer plans and that the plans are already in place. So for me, 1, we've got a manager that we've finished the season with. 2, it's the players and what we do now in the summer, and we will see a better Tottenham next season. So for me, you stick behind him, carry on with him, see where it takes us next season.
Yep. Look, that's where I'm at. Look, I'm fully behind that. Look, I don't mind that he bollocked, us fans to a degree during the week. I don't like it, but I accept it. And look, to me, I think he's done what a lot of fans have asked to do. But before I get into that, I mean, Donovan, where are you at with Ange's management this season? And yourself personally, do you believe he's the right guy that you can get behind? And do you believe he can take us forward next season, be even more improvement on where we are this season?
Honestly, mate, I'm just happy that we're playing attacking football again. It's good to see. It's good to see. No, seriously though, with Ange, you can tell that his man management skills are elite. That's where he excels. He gets the best out of players. He sees the game differently. He sees the game less tactics, numbers, and positions, and more personalities and how you are as a person. He looks for character. It's strong. He's come up multiple times with examples of quotes of, "I'd rather have 250 players that want to be here than one 100 million player that's there to make money." I think the whole media and the entire Premier League has been taken back by his personality, so much to the fact where they need to scrutinize every single thing he's saying because greatness recognizes greatness. I think that if we back the man, his ideas with football and the two inverted fullbacks and the high pressing center backs, I think is revolutionary. I think if you get the right players and two men in every system, I think we're going to see something done that this club has never seen in the modern Premier League era. And yeah, we have the tools. We're a sleeping giant. Take Ange out of the equation. We have the best infrastructure in the world. We're one of the best run financial clubs in the world. We have the ability to create revenue like we're printing money basically. And we get that right figurehead that really taps into our core belief, which is the strongest thing of our club, and that's our fans. We turn out in the hundreds of thousands around the world every single match day. No, Ange is elite. Just to go back a little bit, because I did want to chime in on some of those super chats back then. I don't think the question should be his mistakes or his. Oh, there he goes. But I don't think his question should be his mistakes and the errors he made. I think it should be why was he let down in the aspects of why are the players like Ben Davies still at the club? Why doesn't he have two people in every position? And to make his tactics work. But that's something that'll be fixed this summer, as Jose alluded to. It's going to be a busy summer, and now the ball's on Levy's court and the other people's court, where it's back, given the reins back to the club. He did his part. Now for the next 2 months, it's up to the club. Oh, there he is back. Welcome back. But yeah, I think Ange is the way forward.
Love that. Sorry about dipping out there. My internet went a bit crazy, but I do like a lot of what you had to say there, Donovan. Just quickly, Rich Seaman says, "Great show, gents. Bravo."
Where are you getting the E from?
S-Man? Rich S-Man?
S-Man. Yeah, just kidding. Like that was your first guess.
Man.
I thought you would avoid that one.
No, with Seaman, I was trying to work out whether he's an Arsenal fan or not, whether he's trying to troll me or something like that. Do you know what it was, Jacko? I was watching AFTV and what's one of the UFC commentators. I was watching the clips of them being trolled by fake names and all. Absolutely, I was rolling around laughing today. I was absolutely rolling around. It's hilarious. I thought it was one of them. But Rich, big up, my man. Really do appreciate the support. And hopefully, look, that's the sentiment of everybody else in the chat. Hopefully you are enjoying today's show and stuff like that. Like I said, it is the last pre-match build-up of the season. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. If you are, please smash that like button. Over 450 in-house. Smash that like button. If you're new, smash that subscribe button. And guys, feel free, to get your questions in or whatever else, and, feel free, like what Nick has done here, like what 2J has done here as well, guys. Feel free to steer the conversation in the direction you guys want it to go into next. So big up on that. But big up, Rich. Really appreciate it, my man. Really do. And also big up the Big D as well. Good to see you, along with Scotty Hynam as well, my man. But Jack, look, where are you at with Ange Postecoglou? What do you make of his? And I do apologize to Rich, actually, just quickly. I apologize, my man, if I got that completely wrong. But you can see.
But you made his day.
Yeah, well, I hope I made him laugh anyway. That's the plus. But Jack, where are you at with Ange Postecoglou? Because there's been a lot of questions, especially after that 10-game run earlier on in the season. And by the way, people, these aren't my thoughts. My job to host and try and put many different opinions across. There's been a lot of questions around his management this season. Some of his team selections, calling them naive, maybe not willing to tweak things tactically. Jack, what do you make of Postecoglou's management this season? And just your own personal opinion, what have you seen that gives you evidence that he is the right man to take us forward, or he isn't?
I think he's done a pretty stellar job first of all, I think he should be rewarded in some way, red carpet, or maybe you don't do the red carpet, maybe you do a nice, white and blue carpet for us. But he does deserve an award ceremony for surviving a whole season. I mean, no manager has done that. No manager has done that. Congratulations to Ange. Get the champagne
Yeah.
out. Get some, whatever whatever Greek, delicious dish he wants, out. Get the family. Honestly, incredible, because it's not a job that usually lasts very long. This Spurs managerial job, and he's been able to make it through the first years. When it comes to Ange, I think we have to take ourselves back and rewind a little bit to some of the players that he has either brought in, maybe himself, or at least helped in bringing them in, or has been able to get the most out of them. That perhaps, as much as I have defended these managers in the past, Jose and Conte, I don't think they would have used these guys, or would have probably even trusted some of these guys. The players like Vicario that we brought in this season, the players like Mickey Van de Ven, players like Christian Romero, who's gotten a new lease of life as a player in this team. Pedro Porro, all of a sudden, now we really can see the best of his abilities, and we're playing in a system and a style that really suits him. Pop Matasar as well, finally can be trusted and being given that role that we know he's been dreaming of, and that we know he always was good enough from the moment we signed him, Dave. Probably when you and I did the Paratici video of one of his first signings was Pop Matasar, and we knew that the guy was onto something. And I'm not sure if Jose or Conte or some of these older head managers would have trusted these players, would have given them these opportunities, and would have played the style of football that also really suits them, that really suits their abilities and their own kind of prowess. And I just think Ange Postecoglou, we have to take ourselves back to the players that we brought in. I think are close to, if not going to be, top elite level in each of their positions. And that's thanks to the style of play that he's brought in. It's thanks to the trust that he puts in them. It's not easy for a manager to roll out a really young squad like we have, game after game after game, and try to instill this philosophy and this mentality in them. And I think he's done an exceptional job. I'm actually in my Graham Souness big dunk kind of era right now, Dave, where I'd want to watch people just get it launched, kick it long, knockdowns, that sort of thing. But Ange Postecoglou has, of course, brought us back to what Spurs fans really feel most comfortable with, at least what they said they're most comfortable with, which is attacking football, where we do feel like we will give every team, no matter how good they are, no matter how much better they are than us, we will give them a very good game. We will challenge them. We will play even their style of football. And, we'll at least be proud of ourselves to dare us to do. And I think he's brought that back.
Do you know what? I think a lot of you raised some good points. Me personally, I get there's a lot around Andrew's questioning Andrew's tactics and stuff like that. But, like I said, I think there has to be a bit of leeway. He's going to get some things wrong when the squad isn't fully his, as it's not a squad that he fully believes in and trusts in as well. But look, take ourselves back to where we were underneath Antonio Conte, right? We were in a dark place. No one was happy with the style of football. No one was happy with the effort given on the pitch by the players. No one was happy with the squad, and there was a real dark cloud around, Tottenham at that time. And, a lot of people were saying, look, we want to get back to the Tottenham way, the Tottenham DNA. We want to play on the front foot football, worry about ourselves more than we worry about the opposition. And I think Ange Postecoglou has bought that to a large degree. I think it would be so much better if the club had replaced Harry Kane properly in the summer, rather than leaving Postecoglou short, which I think, I think we have to take that into account. Yes, we've got by this season, but we're playing a much more attacking system. I would expect more goals to be scored, and I expect us to create a lot more. But that is down to, the club not replacing Harry Kane properly in the summer. And I think to a large degree, Postecoglou has worked with that to the best he can. I think he's got the best out of Richarlison. He's got the best out of Sonny to a large degree and stuff like that. So credit to him. We've had a change in goalkeeper the first time in a decade. That's always going to be risky, we've had a change in the back line for the first time in a long time. Always, going to take time to settle in and stuff like that. And we lost our best creator and our best goal scorer in the summer. So there's a lot of things coming into this season that was, going to take time for everything to come together. And I think we got off to a great start, don't get me wrong. And a lot of people were saying, how has Ange done this so quickly and stuff like that? But when it became relying on the squad, when we carried injuries, when we carried suspensions and all, it's where it's all fall off. And it's where everyone started maybe going against Andrew, started asking questions of Andrew and stuff. And I think we're looking at this the wrong way. I think we should be looking at it going, Ange has the winning mentality that fans want. He wants to go and win. He has a style of football that you can go and actually attack the big boys rather than sit back and be scared of them and stuff like that. You know, I think Ange Postecoglou gives us a lot of what we want. When it comes to working with the board, look, as much as I sit here and I want world-class players, I'd love us to go and sign £100 million players. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I think, you know, when you look at the board, they've appointed Jose, they've appointed Conte, but they didn't want to go and spend the money that it took to give them the players that they needed. And he sort of left it in an unhappy position. And I think when you look at Ange Postecoglou, he said himself, he's okay to work with £50 million players. It's not all about, buying in world-class players. You know, it's about having the right people that want to achieve things, you know, people with a common goal and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just happy to work with that. And I think, you know, that will appease the board as well. And look, whether we like it or not, the board ain't going anywhere until someone stubs up £5 billion, if not more. So, you know, we have to factor that in. Can the board work with the manager, or does to a degree, does the manager work to what the boards want? Because if he doesn't, they'll just sack him. And I think he can work within the parameters that they've self-restricted Tottenham to. So for me, I think it's a win-win all around. And I think for many reasons, this is the right guy going forward. You know, many people go, he's being found out. He's naive. He's sitting here fifth in the Premier League. His first season. You know, behind Emery, who's been longer at Aston Villa, behind Klopp, who's had 7 years, Kloppo tears, who's going to be crying tonight. He's had 7 years at Liverpool. Guardiola, how many years at City? Arteta, how many years at Arsenal? You know, and when you look at it, the teams that we're trying to catch, he's got off to a better first season than Klopp and a better first season under Ange Postecoglou. So to a degree, when people says he's not working with what he's got, I'd argue he is, and he's done it better than what Klopp and Arteta does. So all in all, I think this is the right rebuild. We've been sitting there waiting for a painful rebuild. As much as we put on the board that they don't have patience for a painful rebuild, we don't have patience with a manager for a painful rebuild. And this has to fucking stop. And for me, I think Postecoglou, from what I see, is the right guy to bring us forward. Anyone anything else to say on that, guys?
Yeah, and you look at like you said, like the comparable managers, you know, like Eric Ten Hag, you know, Eric Ten Pants, man. You can't even tell what he's coming or going. He's playing a 4-0-4 half the time. And you look at the other managers, you know, Nuno's being bounced around. You know, people are chopping and changing at the bottom of the table. I think the Crystal Palace manager is going to be good too. But stability, you know, he's going to bring that to the club, because like you said, yeah, maybe Conte would have got immediate results, but we all knew it wasn't sustainable. Pardon me, sustainability. That's the word I'm trying to say. He's creating growth that's sustainable, it's organic, and it's coming within. It's solid foundations that when he leaves, it'll be everlasting because he's built it right. And the fact that he's adaptable and learning on the job. Yeah, it's his first year in the Premier League, but and his talent identification, that's huge. The ability to work with the board on our shoestring budget and bring in these 10, 15, $20 million players that are worldies. Like you said, our first goalkeeper change in 10 years. Hugo Lloris set a standard that's never been seen at this club before, and we demand that now. He was one hell of a goalkeeper in his day. French international, French World Cup winner, you know, that's a standard that it's a legacy. There you go. There's a legacy. And Guglielmo has done bits since coming in. He's got a bit to go, but he's still young. You know, Destiny Udogie, maybe that might be Paratici. You know, they're giving Sarr the chance to come through and really be in his own, give him the confidence that a young man needs. And he's at that impressionable age where he doesn't want those 100 million Jack Grealishes coming in and ruining his potential, right? So you partner in his identification with their club's theos of taking young players and developing them. I think we can go from a feeder club to that club that is the young established pressing club that we saw under Pochettino. But something we've never seen before, because we actually get something at the end of the finish line.
Can I add one more thing onto that?
Yeah,
Sorry.
No, work away.
I think
these are the questions I want you to add things in on, Dharma.
I think Conte was doing us a favour. I think Jose's ego got in the way. I feel Pochettino fell out of love with the club at the after the Champions League final. He sort of gave himself enough right to hang himself when he said, "Oh, if we win the Champions League, I might not be here." Ange wants to be here. Ange wants to succeed with us. Ange is building the foundations. It goes, and I say it before and I say it again. Puskis taught Arthur Rowe. Everything's come full circle with Ange. Because you go back to his Australian day, he had Puskis there. Puskis knew Arthur Rowe. Arthur Rowe won us a league title. So everything's going full circle. He wants to be there. Conte was doing us a favour. Jose's ego got in the way because he thought he was bigger than the club. Nobody's bigger than the club. The only one that's bigger than the club is us fans. We are the club. And he's building the same foundations Nick built back in the late 50s, early 60s. And you watch him go. He's our reincarnation of Bill Nick, Arthur Rowe, and Keith Birkinshaw. That man will take us to glory because he wants to be there. He wants the club to succeed. Conte, Jose didn't want to be there, said for, and his ego got in the way from Mourinho. And Poch fell out of love with the club at the end. So Ange wants to be there, and I think that's the important thing we're all missing. He wants to be there. That's
Fair
why
point.
he will succeed, because he wants to be there. He's not doing us a favour.
Fair point. Fair point. Jose, anything else you want to add?
Everything's been covered by you fine gents.
No problem, no problem. But look, we'll keep it moving. So Derek Sung G 21 says, we finally finished the season with a manager, guys. I was saying earlier on, Derek Sung G, I was like, you nearly tested the waters there, a couple of weeks early, it nearly didn't happen. I was about to, wait for you to pop in again if it didn't happen and go, Derek Sung G, this is why we can never count our blessings. But we got there. And look, I know people say, look, it's a bit of a loserish to sort of celebrate that to a degree. It is. But it does show small baby steps of progress that finally, either the board or the fans haven't chased the manager out of here. And we actually have someone that wants to be here, like Dermo said, Derek Sung G. So absolutely love that. And, it is something that me and Jack, I think we said it in our, pre-season predictions, Jack, that the most important thing was to have a manager to see the season out
It might have
for
been,
the whole
yeah.
season.
Might have
So
been.
we've
Well
got
done
there.
to Ange. Well done to Ange, Dark Sun G. I bet you popped the champagne for him, Dark Sun G. I bet he's very proud,
Yeah.
very proud.
Big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate the support, brother. Faz Radfar 3-1 Spurs, a small amount for a big thank you for great streams. Look, really appreciate that, my man. Thank you very much. Like I said, look, we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to have different streams over the summer, more chats about transfers and, us. We get irked by something, we're straight out. Let's have a discussion. So big up, Faz Radfar. Really appreciate that, my man. And look, like I said, it keeps working both ways. You guys have been here for all the streams. The fact that you guys tune in your jobs, support us in your jobs, it keeps us going. It makes us want to do more, because in reality, if you are doing streams like, you have 0 people watching, I mean, it's just pointless. So, thank you to all you guys that are tuning in the whole season long as well. Really appreciate it, Faz. Got Dark Sung G says, now we can bring in players that fit his system, unlike previous seasons where we bought players for those managers who get sacked almost immediately. Jack, you want to have your say on this one?
I just want to say lastly to Faz, though, just appreciate a really great season, Faz. And there were very few 3-1s. I know that's his favorite scoreline, and I feel like there were actually very few 3-1s in our favor this year. So hopefully we can turn that around for next season. And he's like many of the other fans that actually go to the games, but still leave the time to, send in their thoughts to us during the game. So appreciate you, Faz, for that. When it comes to Dark Sun G and when it comes to Ange, this is what I mean with players who he needs to test and trial run, Dark Sun G. He needs to figure out which players have, fit his system, which players he can trust and which ones he cannot. And I felt like that was what I meant earlier with Emerson Royale. Maybe at one stage in the season, he had felt like Emerson was a guy that he could really trust, was a guy that he could sort of shift and move around. And for the most part, I think that was true, right? But then when he wanted him to play out at left back and test him even further again, I think it really came to be underwhelming, and Ange, had to learn from there. And he had to, of course, then move somebody to a different position that he really didn't want to do originally, which was Mickey Van de Ven out to the left. And this is part of the whole leeway, trial running, experimenting that managers, I think, are allowed to do in their first season, and even to a degree into the next season as well. Dark Sun G, look how long it's taken other managers to even get close to challenging, at the top level. It takes them multiple summers, or it takes them multiple renditions of, trying to perfect and tweak things. And I think Ange has allowed that. I think he certainly is. And I'm looking forward to the players that he's going to bring in this summer that he feels like, as well as Paratici and Longa feel like, are the guys that, can make the system even better. Looking forward to it, Dark Sun G.
No, big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate it. And look, I just hope that they don't go against what he wants. So I remember when Conte was heading into last season, sort of you're seeing the likes of Jed Spence come in. And, with Conte, he made no secret about, I want experienced players. I don't want to coach players and stuff like that. So I just hope now that we've got Postecoglou, we don't start going for experienced players and players that don't have the energy that Postecoglou needs for his system to a certain degree. So for me, I think you're right. Look, what we need to do is keep Ange, build a squad in his sort of image and stuff like that. And even if it doesn't work out down the future, at least you've got a squad that's all in the one direction that you can put to the next manager and go, look, this squad is ready built, ready made to play your system, rather than you have to sit here, go through the shit, put your reputation on the line. You may or may not come out the other side of it. At least then, so I agree with you, and hopefully we can get to that. And I think we're seeing that. I think what we've seen from Paratici so far since he's got here is we've lowered the average age of the squad. We're bringing in players with, they're not useless, but they're very good players that have a ceiling of reaching world class, because we're not going to play the world class players. And I'd argue we've done that very well under Paratici. And long may that continue, Dark Sun G. Big yourself up, and hopefully, most importantly, we see the benefit of that next season, my man, and get ourselves further up that table and hopefully in a title race. Big up, Dark Sun G. We've got this from Orox Beach. Big up, Orox Beach. Really appreciate the support. What does Orox stand for, actually? If you could let me know, that would be absolutely brilliant, because I haven't a clue, so just let me know. But he says, big up everyone here. Hope everyone is doing well. That aside, what striker, right wing, and backup left wing would you go for? Also, why pay 50 million for Gallagher? Gibbs White is way better, same price too. Look, we'll get on to that. Jack, I'll get you to come on to this just quickly, and we'll get other guys involved in this one as well. I just need to go and open a window because I am absolutely melting right now. As you can see, I'm getting more red as the stream goes on. So just bear with me. I'll be back in one momento.
Looking like me after my run, Dave. I would say for a striker, I'm really torn on it, Orox Beats. I really am, because I feel like what we do need is a typical number 9 where the ball sticks to the striker. He can hold up the ball, you can give it into him, and he can be able to hold up the ball, bring others into play, have that sort of a technical ability where he can still play quickly, can still have the technical skill to play this system and play this possession-based style, but he does have to have the physical presence that we have been looking for, that we've been getting from Richarlison, where he's good in the air. We need someone that can operate in the box, find the little spaces, doesn't get too intimidated by, center back pushing him around, anything like that. And it's hard to come by, I think, at this stage. I think there aren't really necessarily too many just ideal or perfect candidates. Even with Ivan Toney, for example, I feel like Ivan Toney makes a lot of sense with all the things I just described. But can he really do all the pressing? Can he do all the hard work off of the ball? Or does he even want to in this kind of Ange Postecoglou system? That's a big question. So I really am torn on it. I think you need a guy that's willing to press, willing to work very hard off the ball, but then also has the technical skill to still be able to hold the ball up and have that presence in the penalty area that we've been needing. For a right winger, host of picks, really. I think there are actually plenty of good wingers out there in Europe, really. I think we'll probably have to go outside of Europe. Everybody loves Elise, of course, but I think, there are plenty of people you can go after. When it comes to a backup, actually left back, I know you're talking about a left wing, but I actually think we need to get another backup left back. I would go for Ait Nouri. I think he's exceptionally skilled in midfield and actually plays very similar to Doji. Plays like a number 10, basically, in those half spaces in midfield. And then when it comes to Gallagher versus Gibbs White, listen, Gibbs White, Dave and I are big fans of. I've actually come full circle on Gibbs White as I have on Cole Palmer. Originally didn't like him very much. Now I'm actually just blown away by how good he is. But I feel like Gallagher, I can sort of see why Ange likes some things about him. He's a very good finisher. Some people don't realize about that, but he is a good finisher, works really hard off of the ball, never stops running, and then does have very good mentality. Like, you look at that Chelsea team, bunch of nutcases in that Chelsea team, like a bunch of really, misbehaved, immature kind of 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds all want to steal penalties off of each other. And he's actually shown to be a pretty good captain, despite all of that. I think he's actually had to ring them all together, try to show some sense of a team, kind of ethos or teamwork, kind of vibe. And I think he's actually impressed me a lot. So could be a big mentality thing for Ange too. Maybe that's why he likes Gallagher so much. But I think with wingers, there's so many out there that we could go after, but the list goes on. But yeah, for sure, love the Sorax beats. I'm looking forward to these conversations over the summer. We're getting into them.
Yeah, we're approaching that time. Look, first of all, just quickly, Chelsea under 21s have equalised and gone and hit the post just straight after. Maybe did lots of extra time. The Tottenham under 21s have played, maybe catching up on them a little, but still 1-1 and hangs in the balance. But Orox beats. Yeah, look, we're doing all well, my man. Look, striker, I would like a Tony, a Vlahovic, someone like that in here. I don't think you can cheap out on it, to be brutally honest. I think that is a position where we should be identifying the right quality. There's certain positions you get away with bringing a player in and mold them into the player you want, but you won't get away with that up front specifically. So you have to bring in someone that can, that is already proven, in my opinion. Right wing, Elise. I want that guy from Crystal Palace. I absolutely love him. I love what he's about. I've seen that guy hit crosses with the outside of his boot and the inside of the boot. And that shows an absolute quality player for me. He doesn't have to keep going through these repeated patterns to try and get a ball in or feel comfortable on a certain pattern. It doesn't matter. He can do it whatever way, wherever he's on the pitch. I really want him. Left wing, look, it's hard. I think you bring in someone, are you blocking the likes of Mikey Moore's part way? Hard to know. You got Sullivan, hard to know what they're going to do with him as well there. But as for Gibbs White, for me, I agree with you just quickly. I think that's the player we need to be going after. I get like Jack, I understand why he might want Conor Gallagher. He shows a lot of energy in that midfield, gets around, turns over ball, can shoot, create goals, etc. I can understand that to a degree. And plus, I'd love to see at Chelsea we took your captain. That'll be absolutely phenomenal. But Gibbs White, for me, like that guy gets on the ball. And people talk about Maddison not being able to affect games from deeper position. I've seen Gibbs White drop back behind,
He's a
the
baller.
centre midfielders this season, pick up the ball and get their team going forward and stuff like that. So it can be done. So for me, and I remember this guy turned up against Tottenham Hotspur when he was 17 or 18 years of age under Nuno at Wolves and played us off the park. He was absolutely phenomenal. Really like Gibbs White. And we have to, I think it's by the 30th of June, is the clubs that we can capitalise on for the financial fair play where they have to sell and stuff like that. So the homegrown market, I would expect for us to probably go and sort out first, and then heading later into the windows where we'll probably hit the international market probably a bit harder for our targets. But big up Orox Beats. Really appreciate the support, my man. We've got this from Dark Sun G. In my opinion, getting fifth without Kane plus keeping hands for a whole season is a success. I'm pretty sure if Gunners and Liverpool lost Saka and Salah, they would fall to worst. Donovan, we'll give this one to you, my man. What would you say, Dark Sun G? Fair point. I think it's a great point.
Yeah, and a lot of people are forgetting that Kane left 48 hours right before the game against Brentford too. So that's huge. And Kane was a pillar of success, right? And he was our top ever goal scorer. And I don't need to praise his accolades. We all know who Harry Kane was and what he did for our club. As for the Gooners, sorry, yeah, thank you. Sorry, I just want to read that. Big up Derek Sanji, by the way. Yeah, they're franchise players, right? Salah and Saka. Saka would limp over the line anyway. I mean, if he got pressure put on him, that's the way I look at it. When you build your club around certain players, that's kind of what Ange is trying to divert away from. Rather than have a team of individuals and a team of stars, he'd rather have a solid team of united players that can play with each other and play a system. And that's what we're doing, and it's a huge success. Like you said, Dave, earlier, the fact that we can go to these games like Manchester City away at the Emirates, we didn't really show up at Stamford Bridge, but once they did hit at Anfield, playing those passes, playing the ability, playing out of the back, taking on coaching, I've already said his man management. Yeah, it's a huge success. I think we all predicted a top 6, top 5 finish, maybe low as 8th, 7th, 6th. But the fact that he actually did it and saying it and doing it is two different things. Um, we're on the right track, and yeah, big up again to SMG. It was a success.
Look, I would argue Dark Sun G, proof will probably be in the pudding this summer with Liverpool or next season, because I think Mo Salah's on his way out of that football club. Personally, I think he's off to Saudi, probably 200 million plus. So I think the proof will be in the pudding there. And you're right. Let's see how Liverpool do get on without someone like Mo Salah. And you're not just talking about the amount of goals he scores. You're talking about when he scores them, equalisers, winners, etc. To a degree, Arsenal without Saka, I also agree with you. He's been their most consistent forward player when you look at left wing and striker and stuff like that. So I absolutely agree with you. And I think, that's one thing that's missed with Postecoglou. I don't think many people thought losing Kane and not replacing him would have the impact it did. But the problem is not selling them, but not replacing them. Look, I don't agree with selling them, but we should have replaced them and we didn't. And look, I agree with you. I think, there comes a point where there will be a drop-off. Other players now have to step up and bring a few players in. I think we'll look good going forward, Dark Sun G, next season. But, getting fifth without Harry Kane, with a new manager and everything else, I think it's been a decent season. Of course, it's not trophies, which is where we all want to be. But when you take all the context into it and where we expect to win trophies at the start of the season, no, we weren't. So I think on the whole, it's been a good season, Dark Sun G. Big yourself up, but I really appreciate the support, my man. We've got Anthony Grima, says, aka the fun guy, tuning in from Australia. Big up, Anthony. Says, thanks, Jack and Dave and celebrities. Loved your work, your passion, especially Ellie, especially the youth and loan updates. Good year. Yeah, look, first of all, I presume me and Jack don't qualify as celebrities then. The rest of the guys do. Well, I'm messing. But no, really appreciate it. And also, I appreciate all the guys, giving up their time for our shows and stuff like that. And I'm glad you enjoy the work. I mean, it'd be disheartening if we were doing all this and no one wanted to engage or didn't enjoy it. So really appreciate that. Don't worry about the youth and loan updates. I know I got a bit... Just like for a while, we had games midweek and stuff like that. And, preparation for these games, they take a whole day, the day before a game and stuff like that to put everything together and stuff. So, it just became a bit time consuming and stuff. But do not worry. I will put out more stuff over the summer and heading into next season. I've got a plan to make it a regular once a week thing as well. So big up, Anthony. Really appreciate that, my man. And look, hopefully the under-21s, can go and nick this late. There's 5 minutes left in the game, but big up, Anthony, tuning in from Australia. Whereabouts in Australia, by the way? We've got a lot of Australians that tune in here. You've got Paul, you've got Davy Shire and people like that. So let us know, are you near any of them guys or not? We've got Orox Beats. He says, Andrew's first season lost Kane more Deadwood than a Beaver's Horn or a Beaver's Home. Sorry. What's on my mind? I don't know what's going through my mind today. Improved lots of players and has more points than Arteta and Klopp in their first season. Jose, you're nodding your head. You take this one, my man.
Yeah, the funny thing about the fan base is some people will use facts to serve their purpose, to serve their narrative. The truth of the matter is that he has got more points than other people and other managers in their first season. That is factual. Whether people want to use it for their narrative or not, that is factual. So that has actually happened. We've lost. I mean, people are going on. We have lost the premier, one of the world's premier strikers at the start of the season. Haven't replaced him. We know this already. We've had to play with what we've got. You look at some of the players within the team. You look at your Pedro Porro. I'd look at Romero and say Romero's been improved under Ange and under the coaching. You look at your Porro. I think he's been improved as well. Pat Matassar has improved. And further up, I think Richarlison's been improved. I mean, that's four or five players straight away off the bat that have been improved. So for me, at the end of the day, people, like I said, people will use it for their own narrative to serve their purpose. But this is actually factual. Now, what I will say as well is that the team, if you look at the squads that the other managers inherited over the squad that Ange has inherited, I would argue as to say the other squads were better. There might have been fractions in the squad, but player-wise, it was better squads than what Ange took over, and Ange has done better than all of them in my eyes. So, you know, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, and I don't want to beat around the bush, but at the end of the day, you've got to give this man a chance to cook again in the summer. I saw a comment earlier that someone's put on the super chat about Paratici as well. And I was thinking about this a couple of weeks ago and thinking to myself, won't it be brilliant when his ban is finished and then he can come back into the fold rather than being hidden in the shadows and carry on cooking, because he's still cooking at the club at the moment. So let's wait and see what we do this summer. Equally with the outgoings, with the incomings, we've got to get some outgoings as well. And we have to revamp that squad again to go next season. But Oryx Speaks, I totally agree. What you said is factual, and I agree with you.
No, big up Orox Beat. I made a mistake when I said Beaver's Horn instead of Beaver's Home. I do apologize. A lot of people written me in the chat. Some saying it sounds like a lovely drink. So big up Orox Beats. But look, you know, similar to Derek Son G, I think, you know, none of us were expecting to sort of lift the Premier League title or, you know, really go deep in the cups and stuff like that. So, you know, when you take in the context of everything, new goalkeeper, you know, backline, missing your creative and your goal scorer and stuff like that, I think over the course of, you know, what we were expecting out of this season, I think it's been a good season. To be honest, it's been a better season than what I was expecting this season. Orox Beat. So big yourself up, my man, and really appreciate the support. The two boys highlighting some great points there. We've got Keith Parker says, thanks, Dave, Jack, and the team for all your hard work over the season. Really appreciate that, my man.
Keith.
And thank you as well for all your hard work tuning in and listening to me. Sometimes I can waffle on and stuff like that, so I know that's hard work for you guys to listen. So I appreciate that, Keith. Big yourself up, my man.
Very nice,
Absolute
Dave.
legend. We also got Orox Beat next season. I would want a front three of Son, left wing, Mamouche, striker, and Bakayoko. That's the guy from PSV. I actually like him. If Son's legs or form goes, Mamouche can play left wing, Richie striker, Bakayoko right wing. First of all, Dermot, we'll go to you. I mean, do you agree with some of the players he's put forward? If not, suggest your own. And then we'll go to Jack for a little bit on Mamouche. I presume Jack knows who he is. I think he's a Bundesliga striker, if I'm correct, or something like that. But Dermot, you go ahead first, my man. I mean,
yeah, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, look, I don't agree with Richie being there. I think Richie will be moved on in the summer. As much as I love Richie, I've always said Richie was a small fish in a big pond, where he needs to be in the big fish in the small pond for me. Look, I know a little bit about the striker. Yes, I would agree he would be a good addition to Tottenham. I know Tottenham are looking at a striker in the Belgium League, an African international. I know they're after him. For wingers, look, I agree with. I don't agree. I don't know much about Marmush, to be fair. But for me, sorry, Dave, my head's gone. My head's absolutely gone.
You're all good. I'll pass it on to Jack. And I'll come back to you.
I'm waffling on that one. Sorry.
No, you're all right. I'll pass it on to Jack and I'll come back to that. Look, I'll take Bakayoko. I really like Bakayoko. He's a right winger, gets on the ball, looks to make things happen. Is he going to have the right quality to be able to take that step up and bring it into the Premier League week in, week out? Look, I'd argue, I think I've seen him done it in Europe to a degree. I really do like the guy. I have my reservations whether he suits the Premier League or not on that one, Orox Beats. Maybe I'll leave that up to you to convince me why you think he would fit the Premier League. But Jack, Mamouche, or as Dermot calls him, Marmite.
Yeah, Mamouche or Marmouche. I don't really. I feel like I've heard different pronunciations, but the Eintracht Frankfurt striker has had a hell of a season, and I believe it's an Egyptian striker, if I'm trying to remember correctly. He is kind of versatile, but in a good way. It's not like kind of the cringe way that we were sort of hearing about mid-season, you know, a guy that can play across the forward line. I'd say he is more of a striker than he really is, you know, kind of a winger, but he has that sort of, I don't know how to describe it really, but he's similar to like even Šeško, where he's like tall, lanky, but has a bit more of that kind of sort of techie kind of vibe to him, where he does like to drop deep, does like to, you know, go into the half spaces to pick up the ball, get turned, but still is physical enough because he's big enough to, you know, play with others, quite quick as well. What I would say about him is that the Eintracht Frankfurt team this season, terrible to watch, but he has been a bright, shining light in a team. And I do like players like that, Dave. I think you know that I always look for players that play well in sort of bad teams, let's say, or teams that are kind of underperforming for the most part in this season. And I would say Frankfurt had an average season, at least from my viewpoint, so far. And another thing I would add is the coach, it's either his dad or him. I think his name is like Topmuller or something like that. Great German name. But it's either his dad or somebody like was a really famous German striker of the past. And I think he's given a lot of advice to Marmouche. And I think you can only get good things from that. You know, big, tall German striker of the past, Topmuller, I believe was. And, you know, that gives me good, big Duncan Ferguson vibes, Dave. So Marmouche is learning from a very talented older head of a striker. So that's only can be good things. And I agree with you, Bakayoko, very, very talented, very, very cool player to watch. Almost similar to Elise with, you know, the outside the foot, you know, kind of just does whatever he wants really on that right wing. But of course, the transition from the Eredivisie to the Premier League can be hard.
No, 100%. I am very hesitant to buy him out the French league and the Dutch league because we have been burnt a lot of the times when we've gone there. So I'm very hesitant. I'm just waiting for someone to come in and maybe prove me wrong. But Bundesliga, I would argue, is probably where we should be in and about. Maybe the Italian league as well, to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
Spanish players, you know, we haven't had great, you know, a great hit from Spain either. So, you know, English Premier League, the German league, and the Italian league is where we need to be shopping from.
It looks like they've gone 2-1 up, Dave.
Oh, 1 second.
That's what Derek Hutchinson, Keith Parker, Daniel Zito, and Canva Ngoma. Someone's gone 3-1 Spurs. I don't know what they're saying there.
Oh, what a strike. It is. It's Niall John. He was absolutely useless the other day.
It's made up for it.
By Niall John. Yeah, I'm just a minute behind, I think. I'm behind everyone else. Thanks for spoiling it for me. But yes, get in there. Niall John with the goal. Absolutely buzzing with that one. Like I said, no Donnelly or no Kieran Menton with the under-21s today. So, you know, be interested to see whether they're injured or any of them travel with the under-21s. But Orox beats, big yourself up, brother, and really appreciate
What minute are they in, Dave? Are they in extra time? Is it
95 minutes now?
So is that extra time or is that
No, it's
time?
injury time. Plus 8 minutes injury time.
Dave, can I just add a question to this super chat? A few other players. Kubu.
Give me 1 second, Dermo. I'm going to get to you now with something. You can add in some players off the back of it for sure. Big up Orox Beach. Really appreciate the support, my man. Top guy. Really do. And he also says Orox is a prehistoric bull the size of a truck.
Wow.
So could I call my baby makers Orox? You know, bulls. You know, big yourself up, Orox Beach. Or you could call me a bull. I am the size of a truck. So either or. New name. New name for me, Orox.
You're a big day for a reason. That's all I'm going to say.
Or you can call me Big
prehistoric
times. I might take Mr. Beats, you know, one here. I like that one. I do like that one. And we've also, just quickly, I'll come back to that. We've got Chris says, so last game of a strange season. Come on, you Spurs. Let's get fifth to transfer window. Get into the transfer window.
Just
quickly.
saying hello to Chris. Big up to Chris.
Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. And then we'll take this from Orox Beach, and then we'll get 1 or 2 more questions out to the boys, and we will call it then until they're watching on. But Orox Beach says, if we sell Richie to Saudi, this is right up your street, Darmo, for 60 million, then I would want 1 first choice. Son left wing, Tony striker, Bakayoko right wing, or second choice, Mamouche left wing, Lokman striker, and Brennan Johnson right wing. I mean, that second one there, or second choice, is really second choice. Orox Beach. That's giving me nightmares, to be brutally honest. But Dermo, I mean, Richarlison potentially. Do you think Spurs should cash in on him? Also, what do you make of Ivan Toney? Should we go after him? And then what other players did you want to mention?
Look, Richie, me and Jack have been having a bit of fun in the private chat. Look, I don't hate Richie. I just think he's a small fish in a big pool. I just feel Tottenham's too big for him. And you want to build the team around Richie because he does bring you enthusiasm. He does bring you everything you want. And I think he got that at Everton. If we had the same Richie we had at Everton, I think he would have been a far better player at Spurs. But injuries and his struggles with his own health as well. Firstly, big up to him for talking that about as well, bringing that up. Save. Dave's just having an orgasm. Don't worry, guys. Everything's all right. I think, look, I wouldn't begrudge him a move to Saudi Arabia to make a few quid for himself for his retirement. So, look, if he goes with my blessing. But thank you for what you've done. But enjoy your retirement money. Look, for me, we're looking at Kubu as well, who I really rate, by the way. He was a great Spanish player. He's at Real Sociedad. I think they're looking about 40-45 million for him. I would go for Tony. Look, for me, Tony's a Premier League proven striker. I don't like what he's done in the past. I don't like what he was accused of. But if he signed for Spurs, I fully support him. But I think you need a striker that knows what the Premier League's about. Because if you buy another striker in, it's going to take him 6 months to get used to the league, used to the speed of the league. You got a player that's ready there to play in the league. And as for Brennan Johnson, look, Lookman, I wouldn't mind either. I think he's a decent player. I wouldn't mind him at Tottenham. I would like Gallagher at Tottenham as well, and also Lacey from Crystal Palace. Brennan Johnson, look, I've got an awful lot of stick for backing Brennan Johnson, and I would continue to back my man Johnson. But I think he needs a proper pre-season under Ange to bring him up to speed and a bit of bulk as well. But yeah, they're my choices, and that's what I think Spurs should do in the summer. But we are going to have a great summer. I know that I've been told we're going to have a great summer. The word that I was given was we're going to blow some teams out of the water. So
we're going to have a big summer because we're selling your favorite or your most hated player, Richarlison.
I didn't really hate Richarlison. I just sort of didn't. I got frustrated with him. Let's put it that way. But no, we are going to have a big summer. There's a lot of players coming out, but there's also a lot of players coming in. So we're going to be busy and ready for next season. But they are my choices. But what the beat?
Oh, what a save! Gunter again. Sorry, just quickly. I mean, Chelsea throwing everything at it. I mean, he had no right to make that save. Not only did he make the save, he held on to it. Sorry, Dermo. What a save. Go on.
Yeah, I just say great choices as well. But the summer's going to be really good for Spurs, and let's get behind the team and let's get behind Ange. But yeah, sorry, Richie fans. I'm not slagging Richie off. He's still a decent human being. I love him as a human being. I love his attitude. I love the way he is. I love everything about Richie, but I just think Tottenham's not the club for him. That's all I'm going to say on that.
See, the way that I look at it, right? The way that I look at it is that depending on where you sit.
Another final. Let's go.
Go on then. Right, who are we playing in the final? Do we know?
Don't know yet. I haven't looked that far into it. I was too busy watching Fury and Usyk last night. But the Tottenham under-21s are in the final of the Premier League 2. Get in there. Hopefully, we turn up better than what we did in the last one. But honestly, what a monumental effort from being slapped up by Fulham to turn it around and get over the line today in a derby game. Fair play to them under-21s. Take it away, Jose. I just need to go and congratulate a few people.
Before I carry on with the point, can you tell me, did Dorrington play today?
No, Dorrington's injured.
Okay, so he's injured. So bringing back Phillips made a difference because the defense looked shoddy the other night. So bringing back Phillips.
Yeah, because they were playing Kieran Menton at right back, who's a centre midfielder. They were playing two fullbacks at centre back. Bringing back in the proper centre back has helped them.
Yeah, so bringing back Phillips has done well. Right. So what I was going to say was the thing that people need to realise is dependent on where you sit on how much money we've got in the pot to spend for this summer, right? So let's say for argument's sake, if people said we had 150 million or 180 million to spend maximum this summer, people need to understand that we could go out and buy 10, 50 million pound players. We could do that quite comfortably because you spread the cost over 5 seasons. So therefore, if you bought 10 players and you put a 10 million down payment on each of them 50 million pound players, you're only spending 100 million. So there's no reason when Dermot says about blowing teams out of the water, there's no reason for that to be done because deals are now struck nowadays where you pay it over the length of the contract. You can't do the Chelseas and do 8 years, but you can do 5 years. So there's no reason why we cannot compete for transfers this summer.
It's 200 and 250 million plus sales. So that is the transfer budget for this summer. So
sorry. So what I was going to say is Tony, for me, I would love Ivan Toney at Tottenham. Tony is the nearest player that I think plays the way that Harry Kane played. He can drop deep to pick up the ball, and he can play the 8, he can play the 10, he can play the 9, he can play all them positions. Tony, for me, would be an ideal signing if we get a free run at him. Gallagher, I can understand the Gallagher bit because of his the energy and that. And Gallagher's not a bad player. It's just that people see him because he's from Chelsea and that. Gallagher isn't a bad player, and he'd be a superb number 8 for us. All the other players like your Benjamin Sesko's, your Mamouches, I'd like Jimenez as a backup or another option in the forward line. You know, you've got all midfielders that we're targeted with. You've got the Calafiori that we're targeting centre off. There's a lot of these players. We have been linked with so many players, and I keep going back to that the Langa and the team would have started in earnest their job at the end of the summer transfer window last season after it closed. The day after, we would have started factoring in what we were looking for this season. You have to play the season out to find out where your weaknesses are. Now that we know where your weaknesses are, they will concentrate on the players that they've been monitoring for this season, and we will go after them. I've got no doubts that conversations with agents have started months and months ago, asking whether players are interested or not, and therefore we will move quickly this summer. That's just my thoughts on it.
What I will say is, what I will add in is, you're going to be linked to so many players. Me and Jack have said this time and time again. Paratici's methods is puts out links to 10 players. He wants you all concentrating over here while he's over here working on a deal that no one is really talking about. Happened with Christian Eriksen and a few other midfielders. Brought in Basuma. Happened with Romero. We were all linked with Tommy Asu, etc. Brought in Romero. You know, so it's a strategy that Paratici does to keep clubs off the scent so we can get the best deal we can. So expect that going forward into the summer. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it works out in our favour. Big up Orox Beats. What I will say is, just quickly, I do not like Lopeman, to be brutally honest with you. I think, you know, he's a Prem reject. I'm not sure he'd come back and do
I don't know
better.
about that, Dave. He's had a spectacular season for Atalanta. I've been watching him this year. He's been unbelievable for Atalanta, and he's about to go to a cup final. He's about to be in Europa League final.
Yeah, fair point. But, you know, I think he's had his chance in the Premier League and it didn't really work out for him. And I'll be hesitant to going for Ademola Lopeman, to be brutally honest with you. Orox Beach, but big yourself up. We are on the same wavelength with Bakayoko for sure. Really appreciate support, my man. He also says, laugh my ass off. I meant second choice, as in our backup front three. Oh, okay. Yeah, to a degree. Look, it's okay. I still don't like Lopeman or Brandon Johnson. Would prefer better there, Orox Beats, but really appreciate the support, guys. It's been absolutely immense today. Look, I did have a lot more questions to get around, but I probably will not get to them now at this point. So what we'll do is we'll go around, we'll sort of get everybody what they sort of are they expecting a big performance today, you know, what their score prediction is, etc. We'll start with you, Donovan, my man.
Yeah, so I mean, we have to end the season with a win. It's not crucial, but it'll set us up nicely for the season, for the next season, and heading into the transfer window. Morale, players leaving on international duty. We don't really want players taking it easier on the beach this game because we know what they did to us last time at home. It took 2 stoppage time winners to win that game. I'm expecting big things from your favorite player, Brennan Johnson. I hope he does well on the wing there. No, when you brought up those injuries there earlier, Davo, I was surprised to see like we're running thin. We're running pretty pencil thin. So I think the end of the season.
Yeah.
But despite playing the least amount of games in top 3 flights too, so I think the end of the season's coming at a right time. I like how Ange said his little press conference goodbye to everyone. And the thing that just shows his class as a person, as a player, and I think we'll play some classy football tonight. I think his main message to the players is going to be go out there and give these fans that are loyal. And he has a deeper understanding about the fans now because of the Manchester City game. I think he owes us one, and I think this is going to be his gift. I could be delusional, and I could say we'll go and absolutely thump them, but it's hard to see that based off of how our attack's been very disorganized for the last handful of games. I think we're gonna have a good result. We pass the ball well. We play like we did against City. We'll be just fine. I don't expect too many changes, but Jack was saying earlier here, like he was a little bit depressed about Hoiberg, and yeah, you're right, mate. Like I actually didn't even think about that. This very much could be his last game for Spurs. Um, so yeah, I could see him playing and having an impact of the game. Same thing with the likes of Emerson. I don't see him sentimental enough to give people like Davies a swan song or anything. But yeah, it's a good chance to see some of our last players in the shirt, because if it's going to be a painful rebuild and a big summer of change, take a good glimpse of the squad, because I don't think it was going to be recognizable come September, come August. So all that being said, um, I'm going. Are we giving score predictions right now, or what? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking we'll win 3-0. I think
Clean sheet?
it'll not only be a good attacking game and a good transitional game, but I think he'll drill into the people to do a professional performance going forward, and that means defending from the back. I think Guillermo will reignite that passion to keep that clean sheet. I think we have more than enough talent to keep these guys out. And their main guy, I forget his name already, but he was on their center back list there. He's out there. You had his list earlier. Hegan, there we go. Give us a huge problem, and he was like their big target guy. With him out, with Radu potentially coming to the side, we'll be just fine. And I do hope to see Radu again, because I thought he was a man bun Eric Dyer, to be completely honest, when he
He was
first
much
came in
improved.
against
Do you know what, Donovan? I think he was much improved against Man City, actually.
Yeah, and he came to the show. He really showed up, and he really showed everybody why that yappy agent of his talks so much, because hey, he deserves to be he could be starting for Bayern Munich. He was that good. He showed confidence. It was nice to see a center back not overplay the ball. How many times in those scenarios would we see Moon Boots try and keep the ball in the deck, play it to a center forward, play it to a midfielder, get it picked off, and we're back on the counter? He had no problem booting it into Rosette, shouting everybody to drop 30 yards, get behind the ball again, and restart. And knowing when to pick your moments. When you're that tall and physical as a player, he's got rooms to grow, and he's so young. Same thing with Van de Ven and Romero and Poro. Yeah, not to waffle on. We'll be just fine today.
I hope so. It's good to see a confident Spurs fan heading into this game. 3-0, clean sheet, no problem. Absolutely love it. Donovan, I really do appreciate your time this morning, my man. I know it's mad early for you and stuff. So I really do appreciate, the effort that you put in to make this today.
Well done,
Donovan.
Oh,
hey, thanks for having me, you two. And I'm sorry with my work, and good seeing you again, Dermo and Jose. Nice meeting you, man. But no, I'm really busy with work now, and I can't get on these fan shows. So it means a lot to me that you guys let me on this show. And plus, I mean, it's the last one of the season. I didn't even comprehend that. So thanks a lot, guys, and big up to the Irish Hotspur Army and you Flat Cap Army. Next time I'll wear a flat cap, but I had to represent the boys today. I was born and raised in Edmonton. And
no, Dave and I were the bouncers of the Irish Hotspur. You're like the VIP entrance. Donovan, we'll just we'll let go the velvet rope, and we'll let you straight into the panel show whenever you want. Big up to you, Donovan.
Oh, you lads are too kind, man. But big up you guys, and big respect for everything you guys do to the community.
I appreciate it, my man. Really do. But guys, everyone in the chat, please big up Donovan. 4 or 5 a.m. start for him, if not a small bit later. But it's bloody early. So guys, please, respect the grind in the chat and big him up, please. Just quickly, Daniel Harris says, can I ask, why do we always think the next window will be any different? We do this every season, always just end up with a so-so window. Do you know what, Daniel?
Can I answer that?
When I'm finished, I'm speaking now.
Sorry.
1 second.
Sorry, go on.
I'll let all you guys answer the questions. It's my turn now. When it comes to Daniel Harris, just quickly, what I will say is, Daniel, I think it's twofold. I think, first of all, the fact that we keep changing and chopping direction with a manager every single season is partly why, because we go into the window having to make a certain budget spread across as many positions as they can to fill out as many positions in the squad they can. Once we have a bit more of a settled team and a bit more of a settled squad, You don't have to make that budget stretch as far, which means you can up the quality of the signings you bring in, which will have a better impact on your team over the course of a whole season. Second of all, it's part of being a football fan. I don't care what, people can have their preconceived emotions. What's the point of being excited about a transfer window when we know what's going to happen? Look, not necessarily the case. We always told, sometimes we're told we're going to get bargain basement players. We didn't do that with Van de Ven, didn't do that with Romero and players like that, so it's not always the case. Look, for me, what a fan is all being about is the hope. The belief, the wanting to win, the maybe thinking that sometimes things can change and stuff like that. For me, that's all part of being a fan, and I embrace that in my inner core, my man. So that's what I would say to that. Now, Jose, we'll get to you because you can answer this, but I also want to give you time to say what you have to say about the game and then also plug your channel.
So to Daniel Harris, what I'll say, for me, the reason why I think that this summer will be different is because of the consistent messaging that's come from Ange all throughout. All throughout, Ange has said, building summer. He said, and he's turned around and said they've offered him that we're going to do summer. So for me, it's the consistent messaging, which we've not had from other managers, probably because they've not been here long enough, and there's been no consistent messaging.
True.
Nuno didn't give us consistent messaging. Neither did Jose. Neither did Antonio Conte. But this manager's given a consistent message throughout. So therefore, that's why my thoughts are that this summer will be different. I'm not as a fan, as Dave says. As fans, we hang on hope every year, and that's part and parcel. But as I said, for me, it's just a consistent messaging that's come from Ange. That's the only bit I wanted to say to add to what you said. As for today's game, I mean, I've done my prediction already, my content creator prediction. So for me, the only change, I want to see us play the same style or the same system we played on Tuesday, because we dropped 10 yards deeper as well when we were defending, which made us look more solid, so to speak. But the only player that I will drop, and I'm serious, only player I'm dropping is Højbjerg. Bring anybody in to replace Højbjerg. Højbjerg gives me kittens. If I had cats, I'd have litters of kittens everywhere every time that Højbjerg plays. He gives the ball away far too much. His passing is atrocious as well, and he just hasn't got the speed of thought with the patterns of play when you're playing the triangles and stuff like that. So for me, I'd bring someone in to replace Højbjerg. But other than that, play the same system. And it's similar to the game that we played against Norwich, where Norwich were already down 2 or 3 years ago, and we went and thumped them 5-0 at their ground on the last day, and it was like a walk in the park. Sonny got the 2 goals, which made him Premier League top goal scorer in that game. So for me, Sheffield United are one of the worst teams to have played in the Premiership as well. And today, I can only see one-way traffic, and I'm rooting for a 4-0 victory today.
My bad. Sorry, I was just grabbing your link for your channel, and some sort of advert or something went off.
So you've got Sean.
I can get it for you, Dave.
Sean has said that I've said skip for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. You heard it here first. I never mentioned the name of a player. I just said anybody. It could be. You could put the ginger from Sweden in there. I don't care who it is. You just put someone in there and take him out of the side. That's what I'm saying.
Look, you're entitled to whoever you want to put in the team today. It's last game of the season. You're entitled to whoever you want to play.
But thank you to everyone here at the Irish Hotspur. Dave, Jack, for having me. Dermot, as per usual, for being on the panel. And Donovan, absolutely brilliant today, mate. I've thanked being here. I think everyone should support this channel. Everybody should like, subscribe, comment, and above all, become members of the Irish Hotspur. They do so much work, and there's so much work you don't get to see, but you would if you're a member, and it's worth every single penny or euro, dollar, whatever it is in your countries. Just become members over here at the Irish Hotspur. And apart from that, Dave's put my channel up there. I am Eltel Cockerell. That is my channel. Would appreciate any support if people would like to come over. Trying to grow it. And that's me on the Irish Hotspur for the season. Thank you.
First of all, I want to say a massive thank you, Jose, for getting involved in these pre-match build-ups over the course of the season and stuff. I really do appreciate and value your time, even though you and Dermot test my patience sometimes. I still love you fuckers. But honestly, it's been good. It's been fun. People, please get over, support Jose. I believe he's 18 away from reaching 400. So if there's 18 of you guys that want to get over there, smash that subscribe button and let's send the Jose into the summer with a nice round numbers with 2 big zeros on the end. That'll be absolutely brilliant. So guys, and Jose, personally, thank you very much again, for being available for these shows and stuff like that. As you know, I'm not the most super organized, so I really appreciate you guys, getting on when I ask, like on a Friday evening or something like that. So I really do appreciate it. But guys, please get over, check out El Tel Cockerel. Tron, same with you. What do you want to see today? What sort of performance you expecting and score prediction? And we'll plug your channel as well.
Yeah, look, I want to see. Look, firstly, in Højbjerg, I hope he does start today. I hate all this Højbjerg hate. I am a Højbjerg's biggest fan, as well as Jack. I've got the shirt. I'm going to put it up today as a mark of respect to the legend that is Højbjerg. The man that's been there under 3 different managers and given his all, while other players just did nothing. The likes of Moon Boots, Sanchez. He's outlasted all them useless articles. So big up to the Højbjerg. And you know what? I think he will be here next season. I don't think he's going. I'm hearing he wants, Ange wants him, and he is considering sent. I'm hearing, that's what I'm hearing. So Højbjerg could be here next season. So Jack, don't run up the rest in peace Højbjerg yet. He could be here.
Don't give the man hope, man.
Oh, look, I hope he's here. I'm his biggest fan. I love Højbjerg. And
if I had a mortgage, Dermot, I would put my mortgage on Dermot or on Pierre leaving. If I had a mortgage.
Jimmy Greaves always once said football's a funny old game. So you never know what's going to happen. You don't know. Look, for me today, I just want to see a performance to end the season. Give us some joy going into the summer. I'm going for 4-0. I think it will be a good performance for Spurs. I'm going to stick to my 4-0. And if you like what I have to say, and we're only 178 from 2K, so any subscriptions will be helpful. Come over to join me and Philip and Tequila over at THFC Till I Die. The home of the delusional Spurs fan, which is Dermatron. And if you like what I have to say, we've got a lot of stuff coming there. We've got Transfer Turk on Monday and other stuff for the summer. But again, Dave and Jack, thank you for all you've done this season, for having me on. And I've enjoyed every single minute of it. And I'm looking forward to next season. But thanks, guys. You're a legend. And as I've always said, your brothers as well. You've been there for me in my darkest hour. It's something I will never, ever forget. So just you're gentlemen, and love you both to bits, and come on, you Spurs.
Thanks for the memories, as always, Tron.
Appreciate that, my man. Wait, where's the channel? Where is it? Guys, everyone, please get over there. Smash that subscribe button over on THFC Till I Die. Moving towards 2K. Let's help that happen. Be a part of it. And look, Dermot, I want to say personally again, thank you to you for being available, over the course of the season for these shows. You barely missed any, I think. So, fair play to you in that regard. Really appreciate it. And you know what? Even though you drive me mad at times, you also make me smile at the worst of times. So, thank you very much for that. And, the community's a better place having all you guys in it as well. I don't agree with you on an awful lot. You know that, Dermo, but you do make me happy. You do make me smile. So, do you know what?
One thing, Dave. Yeah, do you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world. I would not change it for the world. I've always said the pandemic was the best thing, finding this community, finding the likes of you and Jack and everyone. And I'm so grateful and appreciate the family we have here, and it means a hell of a lot to me. So thank you, guys. It really means everything to me. So thank you.
No, I appreciate it, my man. Everyone get over there and check out Dermatron's channel. Paul G with a super chat says, thanks for all the hard work this season. Big up, Paul G. I really do appreciate it, my man. Thank you very much. But mostly, thank you to all you guys for this season. Really means a lot. I'll just get overwhelmed by the support you guys throw behind us every single season. It's absolutely insane. And, I come back thinking, next season, no one's going to want to listen and stuff like that. And you're all here again, encouraging us on. So thank you very much. And then Davy Shire's gifted 1 Hotspur membership. Let me get in there and find out. Jacko's going to get in there and find out who it is. Just bear with him. Davey,
Maybe I have lost it. Does anybody?
just have to go up a bit.
Yeah, I think I lost my
We've
page
lost
in the
it, but
YouTube
Davey
chat.
Shire, you probably know who you've given it to. Whoever is the lucky recipient, please, big up Davey Shire and thank him very much for that. And Davey Shire, really appreciate another one we can add to the fan shows and stuff like that.
Paul Longworth.
Big up Paul Longworth, and
Big up
members
Paul.
of the Paul Army, growing even bigger in the online community. Big up to the Paul Army. Welcome, Paul. Thanks to Paul G from earlier. Big up to Davey Shire. Thanks for making the fan show community even bigger this season, sir. Really appreciate you.
Really appreciate it. And DB, it's good to see you. Just take this because it's funny. He says, good job this season, David Jack, but I'm hoping more to come through the summer. The wife doesn't. Do you know what? I think most of our partners are like that, to be brutally honest. They do go through a lot. God love them. But look, Jack, we'll get on to you. Give me your final score. Well, actually, it won't be your final one because we'll do something for the under 21 final that they're in. But look, the final one of the St. Men's senior team this season, Jack, or score prediction, what you want to see today, lad. And maybe everybody out there.
I'm torn between, I'm really, the really glum version of myself is torn that we're going to only win this like 2-1 or like something like that. And it's going to be it's going to be ugly to watch. But we need a 4-0. We need a 4-1. We need something like that. The fan base needs it to bring ourselves back together. We love absolutely ending in complete fire where the whole fan base is split. But then on the very last day of the season, we'll just beat some relegation team that has nothing to play for 5-0 to make ourselves feel better. And that's what we need to happen today. So I'm going to go for a 4-0 or a 4-1. Really have appreciate. I'm not sure what was the last part you said, Dave, but I'm just going to say really do appreciate everybody over this season. It's been roller coasters. You guys do make it 1,000 times better for Dave and I. I think if Dave and I were we'd probably make ourselves go completely crazy if it really were just us two kind of, online with, only, so many people watching, because probably just descend into complete delusion. Like, you guys do actually keep us well in control. I think we've grown so much with you all. We have always, very different opinions, but I think what we really specialize in is just everybody can come in here, have their opinion. They're not going to have somebody come after them or tell them that, they're not a fan or anything like that, sort of thing. It's just we respect each other. We love each other. It's already hard enough to support Spurs. So I just think tearing each other apart is just something we really try to never do here. And we lift each other up. And it's been a roller coaster of a season. Not the worst, but I think actually much better than the last one. So we can take pride in that. I'll save my Højbjerg testimonial for another time so that Mia and Stevie D don't have to hate me. I'll save it for another time because there's plenty of other moments for me to get emotional about that, as well as Emerson Royale. But really do appreciate all of you. You guys all rock. You really do.
Absolute legends. We got this from Daniel Harris. Says, thank you for covering the season, chaps. Love you boys and big up Team Harris. I mean, look, funny enough, I've actually got a cousin called Daniel as well. And I know it's not him, by the way. It's mad that, we've got the same surname and we're not even related. I might have to give the outlet a phone call later on, make sure that's 100% true. But I'm only messing. But big yourself up, Daniel Harris. Really appreciate the support. And you know what? Some more Harrises out there than what I first thought. So up the Harris Army, big yourself up, my man, and let's go. Big up, Daniel. Really appreciate the sentiment. We've also got Mia W says, big up to you all. In Ange we trust. Come on, you Spurs. Pierre Højbjerg out. Look, really appreciate that. Definitely in Ange we trust. She still won't. It's end of season. We're trying to end off on a big kumbaya, and she still won't let Jack and leave happy. And she's also sent in a super sticker, Jack.
No, I mean, to Mia and to Steve D, I am gonna miss the Højbjerg debates and the Højbjerg split.
Oh, there'll be more.
He's easily the most contentious player that's ever played for Spurs. Like, he never was the worst player to ever play for Spurs, but I think that's what makes him special. Is some people really think he was just so much more overrated than he needed to be. Some people think he's so much more underrated than he needs to be. And I really will miss the debates. I really will. There are only Dave thinks there are more, but I think there are only so many left. And I will miss them, Mia. We'll have to find a new player to get, because I feel like Mia and us we've been agreeing too much of lately, Mia, Dave, and I. So we need to find a new player to get divided over. But really do appreciate you, Mia. And I think the super sticker is just her with the sunglasses. And I bet that's what Dave. She's on the beach when she knows Hoiberg's leaving. She's booked a beach holiday with the
Well,
kiddos and everything. Big up, Mia.
I hope it's me, hopefully that's me tomorrow in Manchester, when I'm on my holiday for 3 days, sipping a pina colada. Actually, no, not pina colada. What am I talking about? A Coke with ice and lemon, actually. The missus can have the pina colada with the shades on. That'd be absolutely beautiful. So thank you for reminding me that I am going away tomorrow for a few nights. So big up, Mia. And also thank you very much as well, for throughout the season, filling in on shows and getting on shows with us and getting us on your channel and stuff like that. Really do appreciate it. And everybody, please check out Spurs Between the Lines as well. She's a great member of this community. Keeps Jack honest, with Hoiberg and stuff like that. Big up me. And we've got Adrian Chia. Let's go for a crazy 6-3 result this for a season, lads. Look, really appreciate it, my man. Look, let's wait and see what happens. End of season. Traditionally, there's not a lot of goals. I was listening to someone that brought up a stat about that the other day. But let's wait and see what happens. Hopefully, we score a few today ourselves. Hopefully, we put 5 or 6 by these guys and end off on a high. We've got this from Rectos Madness, member for 2 months. Wonderful show and panel. Love from Team Tottenham Go. Come on, you Spurs.
Big up, Alan.
Really appreciate that, Al, my man. Absolute top guy. People also, please get over and check out Team Tottenham Gold. New channel on the block, putting out content already. Get over and check it out. And Al, really appreciate you getting in contact and coming on the fan shows and, stuff like that, and, contributing to what we do over here. So really appreciate that, Al. Big yourself up, brother. And then we also have Davey Shire with a super sticker, Jack.
Yeah, and he's just saying, ooh, incredible. Thanks, Davey Shire. I appreciate you over this season, my friend. You've lifted us up plenty of times. You've given new voices to people in the fan shows, like I brought up earlier. And another great pre-match build-up to end on. And I'm glad. I really am. I love the pre-match build-ups. I really do. They're probably my favorite shows of the week, really. It's just nice to be delusional before the game, be really scared before the game. We come in with so many different moods, so many different times in these games, never with the same one. And so I have appreciated all these conversations. Big up.
Big up, Davey Shire, my man. Come on, you Spurs, let's bloody go. And hopefully you and the family are keeping well, sir. And also Rectus Madness as well with a super sticker, Jack. Shades, this barbecue.
This one, it's like a Werner on the dance floor move, Dave. He's like crossed the legs, and then he's gone for like a sort of like a, I don't know, it's a real Werner on the dance floor. I think it's what DJ AK was doing too many of last night, Dave. He was doing too many Werners, and he ended up feeling a little bit worse for wear the next day. Big up Rectus Madness. If Dave and I ever are on a dance floor, I think that's the move that we'll try to perform for you. Big up. Appreciate it.
That'd be me in
Looks
Manchester.
like a lemon as well. It looks like a lemon doing like a dance, a dance move. To be fair, that is something that I look like, on a panel. I do look like a lemon, or I sound at least like one, or my logic can be like a lemon, and then we're just dancing around most of the time. Pick up practice. Appreciate you.
No, big up, right? That's bad. That's me doing the moonwalk across the floor in Manchester. Big yourself up. And then we also have this from Ugly Fish Jacko.
And he's just giving a big fancy thumbs up. Top job. Appreciate you, Ugly Fish. Thank you for the support throughout this campaign. Somebody who has been in the chat on plenty of bad times, plenty of good times, and has just rode out this season with us. Big up to you, Ugly Fish. Thank you, sir.
No, I really appreciate that, my man. He's always in there as well, throwing in the points and stuff like that. Really appreciate it. Top guy. But look, guys, just for me, I would really like us to end the season on a real high. Go out there, nice convincing performance, few goals, end the season. Great day out there for football. I mean, I'd love to end this on an absolute high. I want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys out there who have tuned into everything we've done all season long. It really does mean a lot to us. Look, from my point of view, I'm going to get a bit soppy here, but it gives me something to wake up to every single day, to look forward to inspire and stuff like that, and that only happens because you guys tune in and get the support behind us. We've had many laughs, many of cries, many of arguments and everything else, but we're still here last game in the season. So let's all end off on a nice high. Let's all enjoy the watch along later on at 3:30, where Jack can speak about, you know, Højbjerg and players that he may be sad to leave and stuff like that. But honestly, you guys, you make me laugh a lot of the times. You make me angry a lot of the times. But this is what it's all about. You know, good back and forth, good debate. And honestly, it means so much to me. You honestly don't know how much this channel has changed my life and how much you guys have changed my life. I'm a lot more happier person now. So thank you very much. Come on, you Spurs. And I'm going to go 4-0 to Tottenham today. A nice clean sheet. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who smashed that like button today, to the likes of Orox Beats, Davey Shire, Daniel Harris, Keith, Anthony, Dark Sun G, Faz Radfar, Rich, S-Man, 2J. We also have Lazy 8 as well. I got the S-Man right. Mr. Adrian Chia as well. Big up. Davey Shire, Mia W, Erectus Madness, and then we also have one here from Paul G. A massive thank you to you as well, sir. Jack, what's that?
This one I actually love a lot. He's gone for sort of like a just fist bump workouts kind of sort of thing. He's just giving us fist bumps, but also looks like it's in a bit of a workout mode, like I was this morning. And to give you kind of a bit of a secret, Paul G, it's something kind of cringe that I do occasionally do on my runs is when I do get over a hill or something, I occasionally do kind of do a similar motion, like sort of a fist bumpy kind of like flexing sort of motion. And I do sort of cringe at myself, you know, after the workout is over, like, geez, come on, you know, it's not that impressive. So that sort of reminded me of that. Big up to Paul. Big up. Appreciate you. Paul Army.
Big up. No, big up, Paul. Really appreciate it. But man, Paul Army's growing big as well. But guys, you're all mad. I can't wait to see you back here for the watch along. One last game to go. Then we will also get one done for the under-21s when they play the final as well. Congratulations to them. Let's go, boys. Come on, you Spurs. See you back here at 3:30. In the mighty hands, we trust. We never stop. And don't go anywhere because there will be loads of content over the summer. Let's bloody go.
See you guys. We never stop. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Tottenham.